Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
This is Kyle Juszczyk, and you're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, hits to his right, gets to the 20. He's in the 30, needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline, breaks the third tackle, comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! 49ers! 96 yards. Garrison Hurst breaking tackle after tackle, swings down the sideline, throws off bodies like clothes after a marathon.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He died. Touchdown, 49ers.
Third down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down in post, and it's good. Touchdown! Touchdown, 49ers!
It is second down. Ryan takes the snap, throws the slant to the left side. It's Russell intercepted. The 49ers pick it, and Navarro Bowman is redemption. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown. No greater redemption.
The San Francisco 49ers, we can do whatever we want.
Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? It's your boy Mike from Nothing But Niners Crew, and guys, we are here for another fun-filled episode. I apologize for the tardiness, man. Guys, I took a shower, and it just felt so great. I lost track of time, man. I got out of the shower 5 minutes after the show was supposed to start, and yeah, sorry, not sorry, man, but ain't nobody dope as me. I'm just so fresh and clean. Whoo! Now I'm so clean, y'all. I might get ashy. Like I didn't even get all lotioned up and everything. So if y'all see me over here randomly rubbing, you know why. But I'm happy that you all could stay here. I'm happy you guys were all patient. And I tell you what, man, I saw y'all talking trash about how late I was, right? And there's always somebody that got to go a little bit too far. Now I said I was going to start at 8:30. Here it is now. What time is it? 8:56. We've been on for 3 minutes, so 8:53. I'm 23 minutes late. And I saw a fantastic question here. They said, should we make Mike do one push-up for every minute he was late? So you know what? Yeah, Niner Faithful, I'll do that. I will upload that right to the channel as soon as the show is over. All right? So I'll record myself doing push-ups outside in front of my house, and I will give you guys those 23 push-ups that I owe you straight. All right? You guys see the fit? You guys see the glasses? I got the Catch shirt on, so I'll have all this same stuff on. I'll go outside after the show and do my 23 push-ups, okay? So I'm with it. Yeah. DJ Malone on your side and everything. But shout out to you guys. I do appreciate you all. Thank you all for being patient. All right. Now, here's the thing, man. There's a lot of people that I want to hear from. Raheem Morris is one of them. We got the long presser with all the players. There were some things that I wanted to get to, but because I'm starting so late, I'm not going to do it. Let me run through the formalities, and we're going to jump right into the pressers, all right? If this is your first time here on the YouTube channel and you actually end up enjoying the show, please hit the like button on this episode, then subscribe to the channel, and then turn on your notifications so you know when we're supposed to be going live. All right. Give us a follow on some of our social media platforms. We're going to start with the Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. Those handles are Nothing But Niners, are spelled all the way out. Then we have Snapchat and X. Those handles are Nothing But 9 ERS. That's the number 9, Nothing But 9 ERS. And then we have the Patreon, guys. Patreon.com/NB9ERS. People say, what's the NB9 ERS stands for? It's nothing but, and then Niners, baby. Nothing but Niners. All right. I'm your guy, Mike Andrews 83. That is my handle on x.com or whatever it's called, X. Yeah, that's about it. I don't plug any of my other social media, so you guys have to worry about following me over there. But right now, we're going to break down these pressers, and I'm going to get the one that I'm really, really excited to hear from, and that's going to be Raheem Morris. So let me remove the background here. Let's take the background off. All right. You guys got me. This is what you'll see me doing my push-ups in, all right? So it won't be anything fake. It's going to be Mike, push-ups, raw, real, all right? And we're going to go ahead and get to Raheem Morris. Let's bring him up to the stage. He's ready to go, and I'm ready to hear what he has to say. So let's hope this is a good one, and I'm going to give you guys my takes on it. We're not just watching. We're reacting. We're breaking down. We're dissecting. I don't know Raheem Morris too well, so it's going to take me a while to find out who exactly he is. All right, Mike, is NB Niners your license plate? If not, it should be. It's not my license plate. It's not. I think I have an issue with people being able to identify exactly who I am. I really do. But that's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea, Brick. I think I saw you say that in the last show too. All right. I think I saw you say that in the last show. So that's something I'll keep in mind. I've always wanted custom plates on my cars. My uncle was like, then everybody knows who you are and where you are and all that. And he got me scared of it. So I never did it. And this is the same guy that had custom plates. He's the same guy that had custom plates. Right? When we were living in Jersey, he had BYTGOG on the back of his license plate. That stood for by the grace of God. But it's like, dude, how you going to tell me that? And you're driving around with custom plates. So, like, which one is it? It's a bad thing or it's a good thing? So I don't know. But, you know, it's something that I might do. I might do it. That's a really, really good idea. Let me see how much that'll cost, Big Brick. I appreciate that. All right. Now, for the rest of y'all still talking trash, man, I ain't worried about y'all, man. I ain't worried about y'all. So let's go ahead and get to it. Raheem Morris, you were on deck. Let's go, baby.
Afternoon, guys. What's going on?
So far, Raheem, what excites you or who excites you on this defense thus far?
It's a lot of exciting things, a lot of exciting people. It's fun to be around a bunch of new people that you haven't really been around. It's fun to watch people grow and get better throughout the process. I've had so much fun, you know, being able to learn a lot of things from our guys, some of the really good things that they've done in the past. I've had a lot of fun being able to implement some things that we want to do, to be able to talk about it. We have a little bit of experimental time in these moments. They've all been great. It's been so much fun to be around all of these guys. But when you're just around a guy like Fred, you're around Greenlaw, even though they're not practicing, it's a little different when you're around those couple of guys that just put so much into their work, put so much time into it. Bosa has been really fun to be around because he's the most even kill dude I've ever seen in life. And I love that, you know, just nothing's going to bother him. He's going to be ready to deal with just about any situation that's going to come up. And you got to start with those type of leaders. And then talking about the guys that's out there playing for us, that's in those shoes. What they talking about, Wallow, some of the guys that's getting coached by the guys that we just mentioned. They've been a lot of fun. Romello, being a young punk, out there just running around doing all the things that he's able to do, getting all the tutoring from Chris and all the guys in his room. So I am excited about a lot of people. That's just a few just to mention.
All right, so there Raheem Morris just runs through all the guys, basically just saying everybody's names. Nothing too crucial or critical there, so nothing very deep to dive into. But the reason I stop is because we have this comment here from Jason Van Dyke. He says, hey, Mike, is Morris just a one-year guy? This is a really, really good question. Raheem Morris has tried his hand at head coaching a couple of times and didn't necessarily work out for him the best. But he is also highly and well respected around the NFL. I feel like this is the new, like Leslie Frazier, like he might have a little bit more respect than Frazier, honestly. I'm not quite sure, if I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I hope he's not just a one-year guy. If he's a one-year guy, we have a little issue on our hands. It's going to be time for us to find a young stud and not someone's old friend. It's going to be time for us to find someone that knows how to do things our way or promote from within. Maybe they're setting the stage to get a guy like KJ Wright his first chance, but you can't give him his first chance and let him go after a year or two. So we got to see how it goes. But if I had to answer right now, the answer is going to be no. That's my answer. All right. So yeah. All right. Let's get back to it, man. Let's go. Thank you for the question, though, Jason. Good question.
I'm sure you are very familiar with his playing career, but having been around KJ Wright for a few months now as a coach, what has kind of stuck out to you about the way he's transitioned into
how inquisitive he is? You can see why he was a great player. The attention to detail, the things that he brings to our meeting rooms, the experience from being out there, the experience from hearing it from a player's view, how he articulates and takes it as a coach and able to give it to those guys and deliver it. And he's got, Johnny Holland around him, one of the all-time greats. And those two have been able to work together as well as I've seen.
Mentioned how important it was to be a quality control coach. I know that's a role that you played, and Kyle has always been big on that. What is the value in having that role before stepping into it?
Yeah, I think the value is not just being a quality control coach. I think the value of being a quality control coach with a guy like Monty Kiffin, or being a quality control coach now with a guy like like Kyle Shanahan. When you work under those wings, you have no idea but to work extremely hard, work with a purpose, and absolutely have to know exactly what you need and what you want in order to get those guys what they need and what they want. And you can't help but learn when you're in those environments. So extremely fortunate for myself, extremely fortunate for Kyle, and now being able to mentor people like that, having Jake Lynch with me and Cam Brown, some of those guys, I'm seeing some of the same benefits that they're able to get from all these great coaches on the staff as well.
You mentioned Fred Warner and Drake Greenlaw. They always talk about this expectation that, lives in the building here with the 49ers. Just, you mentioned them kind of coaching some of the younger guys up. Which of the rookies, if all of them, if one of them, and then in what ways have you seen them kind of buy into that system and show that they are eager to kind of make their move here?
It's really easy with that room because they're in the same room every single day. We have our defensive meetings, and they're in there influencing those things. And inside the defensive meeting room, you see those guys, not a rookie, but how they influence Stout, and how they influence Stout, and how they're around Stout, and how they make him think and behave, and sit next to each other every single day. Can't get Stout to smile, but he has such a serious demeanor, and he's picking up all things from Fred, Greenlaw, all the guys around him. That pit ball type mentality that Greenlaw brings every single day, that knowledge, that spirit that Fred brings. And then you watch those guys move into their own individual rooms, and you see what he's doing for Doug or Larry Worth, and watching those guys be able to come here late in the afternoons and really pick up things and learn and develop and grow.
What does this mean? She asked about how the veterans are, encouraging and influencing the rookies, and he said, yeah, not really the rookies, but Stout. And he hyper focused on that. Are they can't be separated. They're in the same rooms together. He said you can't get Stout to smile. Am I missing something? Isn't that what happened? He made it sound like that they're not interacting with the rookies. I'm gonna play the question again and listen one more time. I'm sorry.
With that room because they're in the same room every single day. We have our defensive meetings, and they're in there influencing those things. And inside the defensive meeting room, you see those guys, not a rookie, but how they influence.
All of them, if coaching some of the younger guys in the building, and Drake Greenlaw, they always talk about this expectation that, lives in the building here with the 49ers. Just, you mentioned them kind of coaching some of the younger guys up. Which of the rookies, if all of them, if one of them, and then in what ways have you seen them kind of buy into that system and show that they are eager to kind of make their move here?
All right. So she talked about how Fred and Dre talk about the vibe in the building and the way the building works and operates, the standard basically. And she was like, which of the rookies do you see it rubbing off on? Who is it influencing? And then he answers to say they're not really influencing the rookies, but Stout, he goes right to the second-year guy. Now, I do know that he loves his secondary, so maybe he hasn't made his rounds. I don't know. This is weird. This is weird to me. All right.
It's really easy with that room because they're in the same room every single day. We have our defensive meetings, and they're in there influencing those things. And inside the defensive meeting room, you see those guys, not a rookie, but how they influence Stout. And how they influence Stout, and how they're around Stout, how they make him think and behave, and sit next to each other every single day. Can't get Stout to smile, but he has such a serious demeanor, and he's picking up all things from Fred, Greenlaw, all the guys around him. That pit ball type mentality that Greenlaw brings every single day, that knowledge, that spirit that Fred brings. And then you watch those guys move into their own individual rooms, and you see what he's doing for Doug or Larry Worth, and watching those guys be able to come here late in the afternoons and really pick up things and learn and develop and grow. They want to be like those guys, and they set such good examples for everybody in the building that there's always going to be a good thing with those guys.
Follow up on that with Stout. He was one of the rookies that kind of made a name for himself last season. What have you seen out of him this season? If there's conversations between the two of you that kind of show, okay, this guy is really, bought in.
He's a great listener. He's a great note taker. He is really locked in. He's one of the guys that wants to go out and absolutely do it at a very high level every single day. He puts an extreme amount of pressure on himself to be great for his room, for himself. I got to find out what his internal why is, but whatever his why is, man, I love it.
Multiple interceptions today. I know it's June practice OTAs, whether it was in team or maybe 7-on-7. How important are those just for you to see your guys make plays? And was there some understanding that the quarterbacks are going downfield? Were you kind of wanting to see your guys get pressured deep?
I want pressure every day, and our offense does such a great job. I think that's the part of working together. I think it's our job in the offseason to go out there and practice the high level plays that you want to be able to get while it on either side, and be able to look at those pinpoint players to be able to make those accurate decisions on who's going to be the very best, out there, even put in hard positions. And when you see guys make plays on the ball in 7-on-7 periods or team periods, whatever it is, I think that's always a good thing and what you want to have happen. I think the guy gaining more confidence, I think is going to be a part of the standard. I think it's always been a part of the standard here, and we got to get back to that at a very high level in order to go out to compete in this very hard division.
So catch at least one deep one. I know you're going against.
Strickland did, man. Strickland looked good. He hit us on, I think it was 2. I think he hit us on a deep route down both sidelines. And he's a very talented young man. He's gotten better and better every single day that he's been here. I'm loving where he's going. I'm loving his transition to whatever he's got going on with those guys on offense. He's very smart. He's very sharp. He's very articulate. We definitely done a nice job in our scouting department and profiling the guys that we need to get around here to win.
Very, very good to hear some praise for the rookie, Dejon Stribling. So let's make some noise for that. That's what I want to hear. You hear it early. He got a couple of deep ones on him. That was seemed to be what the drill was that day in practice. So that's very, very good to hear. So I like that, man. And the giving praises, he's made it the right thing. So I like that, man. Let's go. I think Stribling is going to come out like a freaking madman. Coming in here, wide receiver 3 for the 49ers always is the guy, the crowd favorite. Now, all of a sudden, he's going to be the wide receiver 3. All of a sudden, he's going to be the guy that is getting the worst coverage all the time. And the Niners had a first-round grade on this guy. They had a bottom of the first-round grade on this guy. I think we're in for a treat, guys. I do. All right, let me shut up. Back to Raheem.
Do you anticipate a competition for the starting safety spot in spots in the summer?
I think that's the most important thing. I think it's spots, right? Nobody ever gets comfortable in the National Football League. Coaches, players, and nobody. I think you want to go out there and have high-level competition across the board. I think it's less about, starting spots for coaches. It's more about roles and what kind of roles can people do to help you win. And I think people finding their roles, whether you call Stout a starter or not, he's a starter. Being that nickel role that he stepped into last year and played at a very high level, I think those things matter. Whether you talk about the safeties and how they're going to play and what their role is going to be, I think you want those guys to go out there and compete at a very high level and give you everything they can. And they've shown a lot of good things, despite what might have been said about these guys in the past. And I'm really excited to watch those guys play. Picked up one yesterday, actually, National Davis as well.
In your coaching experience, how much of an impact for someone like Fred to be out there and match the energy and root these guys on before coming into training camp? Does that excite the younger guys more, in your opinion?
It does. No disrespect to all the great players that I've been lucky enough to be around. I don't know if anybody's had the juice that Fred has. The greatness, the great mornings, the great days, the great attitude. The mentality to go out every single day and win the day.
All right, y'all. He's giving us something juicy right here. I'm going to rewind this. I like this a lot. And this is a guy that's been around some Hall of Famers. This guy has been around Aaron Donald. This guy has been around some absolute dogs. Are y'all listening to what he's saying right now? Are y'all hearing the question and answer? This is important. He is putting Fred Warner on a pedestal. Let me not put words in his mouth. Let's listen again. Listen.
In your coaching experience, how much of an impact for someone like Fred to be out there and match the energy and root these guys on before coming into training camp? Does that excite the younger guys more, in your opinion?
It does. No disrespect to all the great players that I've been lucky enough to be around. I don't know if anybody's had the juice that Fred has. The greatness, the great mornings, the great days, the great attitude. The mentality to go out every single day and win the day. He brings a different attitude every single day, and it is absolutely refreshing. I've seen the ups and downs from some of your great players, whether it's been the Aaron Donalds, a Jalen Ramsey, or a Derek Brooks, a John Lynch, a Rondé Barber. I haven't seen a guy be as consistent as he's been since I've been here as Fred. I mean, he's every single day.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about, man. Huh? Let's go. Callie said it right here. Fred's got the juice like Tupac, baby. Now that didn't end well for him at the end. I don't want to, highlight that too much. But, I mean, damn, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Now, we're talking about just being a cheerleader on the side and keeping the energy high. That's all we're talking about. Let's be honest. He's not saying that, Fred plays better than anybody's ever seen or anything like that. But the energy that he brings and the consistency in which he brings it, it keeps the level of practice at a certain level, day in, day out. He says he hasn't seen anybody do it so consistently before. Whew. That says something to me. That tells me that Fred Warner is who we all thought he was. That tells me that Fred is excited to have Dre Greenlaw back. This is Fred coming off of an injury. This tells me that Fred is excited to get back, that he's anxious. He's out there still being cautious, guys. Like, this is saying something. This is saying something to me, man. All right? I like it. I like it, man. I'm getting excited. All right, let me shut up. Here we go. Back to it. Like I said, we got a lot to get to.
Mustafa aside after he had that coverage for that long pass to Jacob Cowing. What was the teaching moment?
That was a setup. It was one of those plays we talked about. You put those guys out there in some of those hard situations, and it's about being visual. It's not about not seeing so much and being able to be that angel over top to be able to help us play the right way, to be able to save a tough play. That could have been a tough play. He covered a lot of grass and, could almost get there in that setting when you're not touching the quarterback. So if you can get close in those situations, that's a good thing, because hopefully, you got Bosa and some of those guys that have saved you on some of those.
So this was referring to a play in practice where Jacob Cowing got deep, and Mustafa was just a hair out of place on the play, and he was giving us some insight, like that was without getting any pressure on the quarterback and the timing being perfect and all that. That's a setup. You got to learn, like, you can be there. Don't get defeated by it right here in practice, because hopefully you're going to have guys like Bosa and Height and all those guys putting some pressure on the quarterbacks and Osa. They'll be out there doing their thing, and you'll be in the right place at the right time. So I like it. And I like the way he answered the question, right? He smiles. He didn't look upset about it. Apparently he pulled Mustafa to the side, said it's a teachable moment, right? I like that. That's what we want to hear from this guy. It's specifically, let me not speak for everybody. This is what I want to hear from this guy, because I think the secondary is going to be just as good as the defensive line this year. I think the Niners are on the precipice of something very, very special in this defensive side of the ball. I really do. And I think that Raheem Morris is going to bring just what we need to that secondary. Just what we need to that secondary. Listen to him.
Aside after he had that.
He's every single day.
Mustafa aside after he had that coverage for that long pass to Jacob Cowing. What was the teaching moment?
That was a setup. It was one of those plays we talked about. You put those guys out there in some of those hard situations, and it's about being visual. It's not about not seeing so much and being able to be that angel over top to be able to help us play the right way, to be able to save a tough play. That could have been a tough play. He covered a lot of grass and, could almost get there in that setting when you're not touching the quarterback. So if you can get close in those situations, that's a good thing, because hopefully, you got Bosa and some of those guys that have saved you on some of those.
And just what have you seen from him in the past few weeks?
I've seen a bunch of improvement. He touched the ball today, got a chance to make a play on the ball. One of the picks we just talked about, I watched him, absolutely sit in the front of the room every single day, pick up everything, learn everything, find ways to do extra on his own and all the stuff that he's doing. And it's a wonderful group. This team has been built and constructed the right way by a bunch of really good people. And you see it every single day when you come to work.
So far, he has talked about the performance of Stout. He's talked about the performance of, I'm talking about just defensive players, Malik Mustafa. Now, that was a direct question about Malik Mustafa. He volunteered the information about Stout. All secondary guys. Yes, he's talked about Fred Warner, but that was as like a cheerleader and the energy bringer, setting the tone for the practices and all that stuff, right? And then he did go on and name a bunch of defensive linemen and all earlier. Just going through the list of the different players, but talking about the performances of these guys, I'm listening closely to see. You can tell this guy's heart is with that secondary. I love it.
Were you in the building yesterday when you found out about Myles Garrett going to LA? And then
yeah, we all were. I think it was about 10:25 that it came across to most of us, and great player, right? What do you do? You go out there and you find a way to win that game no matter what. I know those guys really well, and I wasn't shocked one bit.
What are your impressions of?
I was coming out. I'm sorry.
I didn't hear this question. Was that a Myles Garrett question?
He said something about Miles.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that was kind of, but
He beat you to it. Now you're stumped.
No, yeah, I know nothing. I have absolutely nothing. No, based on your experience, I mean, did you have like any thoughts or inkling that if any team's going to do it, it's going to be them?
I'll be honest. I've been out of that loop. We've really been focused on just the defense, doing all the things that we've been doing. So I haven't been kind of following all the stuff you guys probably have been, and what's going to happen after June 1st, what's going to happen on all these dates that come up in the league. That just wasn't my gig right now. But when it came across, it was no shock in my head.
Another safety question. With this defense, we've heard mostly sort of interchangeable, not necessarily just a strong safety, not necessarily free safety. Is that your mode too? Or are you looking for some traits separately from those two guys?
All right. My first applause for a question. This was a great question right here. This is the question that we need asked. The last couple of defensive coordinators, God bless them, have been saying that the safeties are interchangeable. And I think it's time for us to develop a free safety and develop a strong safety. I don't know how he's going to answer this. By the way, guys, I haven't watched. I don't pre-watch these. I watch when I go through these. When I'm doing the presser breakdowns, I'm doing these live with you guys. I don't watch them. I don't listen to them or anything like that. These are the first time that I'm going through these. So I don't know what his answer is going to be, but I can't wait to hear what the answer is. And I really, really hope that he says something along the lines of, you want them to be interchangeable for injury reasons, and you want to be able to move people around because you don't know, how the season is going to play out. However, I would like to have a set of free safeties and a set of strong safeties. And it's always good to have guys who can do both, because then you can blitz them and things like that. I want to hear something along those lines. I want to hear, yes, I want a free safety.
Ross, it was no shock in my head.
Another safety question. With this defense, we've heard mostly sort of interchangeable, not necessarily just a strong safety, not necessarily free safety. Is that your mode too? Or are you looking for some traits separately from those two guys?
There's definitely going to be some different traits, because be pretty selfish to say certain type of guy couldn't play in a system. But I don't think that's necessarily true. But I just think the league has kind of evolved more to the traits where they're kind of cross-trained. And they can do different things. I think you got some traits that add qualities to different areas, kind of the role stuff that we talked about before, whether that could be close to the line of scrimmage in the box, doing something as a linebacker S-type player, or doing something as a big nickel S-type player, or a outside, whatever you want to call those different positions that we call them now. But definitely different traits, but definitely have a lot of similar traits when you talk about playing in the back end.
Okay, I've got a new one.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Based on when Osa was traded from the Cowboys, just the reaction from Dallas, from coaches, players, even media was like, "Oh, dang, he's leaving." Can you just speak to whatever you've gleaned from him, his character, him as a person,
him as a worker, the human, the guy that is coming here and providing great energy as well. I love his approach to every single day and what he does to make sure he's ready to go, for his teammates. He hadn't gotten a chance to really prove anything like, none of us have. And I think he's embracing this environment that he's in and really loving it and being around his coaches. And, those guys, whether it's Cam or whether it's Gregory and or Chris Eric and all those guys that with him, they absolutely go out there. They got a whole posse down there, guys that I don't want to go nowhere near the Indy. So it's fun to watch all those guys.
What a zebra.
Great question. Very, very concerning answer at the end there. I'm going to run it back and see if you guys catch what was concerning to me. I want to see if you guys catch it. If you guys think you know what it is, you can type it in there right now. But there was something in here that was concerning at the very end of his answer. I don't know how I feel about it. I do know how I feel about it, but I'm going to play it again. Listen.
To make sure he's ready to go, for his teammates. He hadn't gotten a chance to really prove anything like, none of us have. And I think he's embracing this environment that he's in and really loving it and being around his coaches. And, those guys, whether it's Cam or whether it's Gregory and or Chris Eric and all those guys that with him, they absolutely go out there. They got a whole posse down there, guys that I don't want to go nowhere near the Indy. So it's fun to watch all those guys.
Excuse me, bitch? Are you fucking kidding me?
He's watching Cam and Kosaric and the whole posse, and I don't want to go anywhere near those guys. What? You're the defensive coordinator. See, and this is what I mean by we're never going to move on from guys like Chris Kocurek because no one's out there actually testing them and holding them accountable and saying, hey, I need more from this group or anything along those lines. Like Kocurek runs that defensive line group. And they've been the most disappointing group for how many consecutive years? And for you to sit there and say, I don't want to go anywhere near those guys. They got a posse and it's fun to watch. No, don't watch. Provide fucking input. I want to know that our defensive coordinator gives a shit about the front. I know Raheem Morris. I said it already. I want him to bring something special to that secondary. I know I've said that already. But the truth of the matter is we're not getting enough out of the defensive line. We're not. I don't care how many pieces they're investing. If we're going to go out there and keep doing the same shit, we're going to keep getting the same results. I want to hear him say, I'm going to watch for a little bit, and then I'm going to give some input or whatever. Like, I don't want to go anywhere near those guys. That's what he said at the end. They're indies. I don't want to go anywhere near those guys. No, that's not the right answer. That's not the right answer, Raheem. I'm sorry, it's not. Someone's got to say it. I'll say it. And now you've created a narrative for me until I hear something different out of his mouth. Now I've got a narrative here that Kyle hired somebody just to run the secondary. He's not really a defensive coordinator. He's a secondary coach. Now I got it. Now I have an issue with this. I wanted to see something different. Maybe he'll bring some plays and formations, but I still want to know that he has some concern about how they perform. Bobo's saying, I think he was joking. He wasn't joking. I don't think that was a joke at all. I think he meant that. Look at his face.
And really loving it and being around his coaches. And, those guys, whether it's Cam or whether it's Gregory and or Kocurek and all those guys that with him, they absolutely go out there. They got a whole posse down there, guys, that I don't want to go nowhere near the Indy. So it's fun to watch all those guys.
What does Zeberflus bring to the mix? I know he was a walk-on once upon a time. He's worked with a lot of great defensive coaches, Saban and others. How are you going to utilize his skills?
He's been a sharp, calming, easy presence, for me. He's the guy that can see big picture things. He can talk about, what our tackling plan looks like, how we look on our approaches. He's been a guy that's been able to come to you and be able to talk some of the different things that's going on around the league, some of the different techniques and stuff that we talk about. And, right now he's being a sponge and he's taking everything and he's been able to come back on the board and be able to question and try to finalize all the things that we want to do. He's been absolutely awesome.
With mandatory minicamp being canceled next week, what is your plan for the rookies? Do they stay extra? How do you get them up to date and geared up for the start of training camp?
Obviously Kyle handles all those things, but a lot of the guys like to be around each other, and I know I hate to keep bringing them up, but I know Fred, organizes a lot of that with our guys. And, our guys get a lot of, positive peer pressure from each other to make sure they come back ready to go and trying to stay mentally sharp, but also, finding a way to get away and be with their families and do the things that you need to do in order to be ready for a long season. So the Niners have played a lot of very long seasons around here, and you still got to have time to get away and do some things, but at the same time, be ready to go when we come back to training camp.
Struck you about just watching Brock Purdy, quarterback.
We got a Brock pick today. I let him know that right after practice. That was awesome. He's gonna be so mad at me for telling the media that, but you guys were there. But you guys were there. That's a big one. Was it 2? Oh, I didn't get a chance to brag.
Were there a lot during the offseason program?
Say it again. I'm sorry. No. I wouldn't say a lot. I mean, he is the layer king. He's so accurate. He puts the ball in the right spot. Keeps the ball in his hands. He's tortured me for years. And it's so nice to be around him. It's so refreshing to be around that whole group. And the energy that they bring, getting a chance to be nosy and going there with those guys is always fun because you learn from Mick, you learn from, Brock, Matt, all of those guys that are in that room. And I enjoy going there and being able to be with those guys sometimes too.
Early returns been with the competition in that linebacker room.
I missed the beginning of that.
No, it's all good. Early returns with the competition in that linebacker room. What have you noticed outside of Fred and Dre? Guys are competing for limited spots.
Obviously, Fred and Dre's they're not doing the stuff out there right now. They're doing the mental reps. They're back there hanging out with me, harassing me in the back. But they've been able to, with those guys, you got young guys and Duggar, you got young guys and Larry Worth, you got young guys, Nick, the guys that have been able to get out there and have a chance. Nick in his second year, I'll be able to go. But Then there's some guys like Wallow that's really stepped up and, filled that role right now as the communicator on the field. And Jalen has done a nice job of going out there playing linebacker as well. I've been really excited about that group and what they've been able to do since the guys that I've seen. These guys have been awesome. Obviously got a couple guys on the shelf right now, not going right now, but I look forward to those guys getting training camp and competing.
The two players with the fastest get-off time last year were Nick Bosa and Myles Garrett. You guys went out and got Romello Height. Can you talk about the stress that first step puts on it and the opposing offense and why there's so much emphasis on that in today's NFL?
It's just a belief in National Football League, right? It's about, really less about that, but more about how do you mentally and physically affect the quarterback, and having the stress of knowing that you got guys with great get-off is one of those ways to definitely mentally know that that's going to be a part of it. But getting to it, the quarterback, and getting to those spots, being able to close space, being able to, if you don't sack them, being able to bother people. That's certainly what people has been able to. That's certainly what Bosa's been able to do, and obviously Myles. So being able to go out and get guys like Romello and different guys across the board to be able to help us do some of the same things is certainly going to be helpful for us.
All right, guys. Last one. Obviously, the goal is to be better than last year. How do you want to quantify that? Do you want to see it in sacks, in INTs, and pressures?
I am so unselfish. It's more about team wins. So like for us, man, it's just like, how do we go out and be a better football team? And whatever that requires and whatever that means, let's do that. How do you go out and help the Niners get to the ultimate goal and what we wanted to be? And that will never waver from how I believe and how I think. I don't have selfish goals. I don't have those type of things. I know they come up. I know they will come up. I know they will be the standard. They will be tested. But like at the same time, Trent just walked in, so I'm leaving. See you guys later.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna give this a. I was so excited, man. I was so excited all the way up until that question about the defensive line. I was so excited about it, and then it's just like you're standing back and watching, and you don't want to go near them, and you're letting them just do their thing. I kind of got turned off from the rest of it. But it was a good presser. If I had to give it a rating, I guess I would probably rate it like a 7.5 out of 10. All right, you get a 75 for that. I would have loved for him to say something just a little bit different there on that one answer. So I don't know. But I still am very excited about the addition of Raheem Morris, and Law of All said it here. The D needs a major overhaul. The D will not look the same with his play call, stunts, and blitz. Even some of the fronts that we know that he comes out and talks about, and we've heard from some. I've seen some headlines anyway where the players are saying that they were using me as this and that, and we've heard about like the fifth lineman and all that. So we'll see how it plays out. He's got to find a way to put his imprint on this team as a defense, not just a secondary. He's got to find a way to do it. I did like the answer that I'm more worried about team wins and improving in very specific areas, whether it be sacks, interceptions, or anything like that. I do understand that, and that means that he's not going to hyper focus on it. There's a lot of guys that feel that it'll come naturally, but he said it will come up later on, and he's sure he'll have to speak on it again. I hope that remains true. I do. I hope that remains true. But it is what it is. Shout out to Raheem Morris. Still very excited to see what he brings to the table. And I hope that he has a change of heart, maybe, when it comes to that defensive line and the people that are out there running that defensive line. I want to see him put some pressure on those guys, not just go out there and do your thing and I'll see what happens. No, I want him to set a standard for them, set goals, set marks, and have a way to rate those guys and find out who is and is not doing their job, who is someone that you feel, hey, listen, there's another guy that's going to be available that can do this on the defensive line. There's another guy that can do this as far as pass rushers go. There's another guy that can do this as far as linebacking go. There's another guy that can do this as far as interior alignment. Like, figure it out. Figure it out. This is not going to be, or I don't want this to be, oh, well, Kyle said, so that's what this is. I get it. It is Kyle's team as a head coach, but God dang it, man. Like, can we do something just a little bit different up front? Up front is where it starts. It starts there. And this defensive line, I mean, they've invested so much in it. If we have another disappointing season there, I don't want it to be all season long. I want it to be, we started slow, and now Raheem Morris is really getting on those guys, and they have to change some things. That's what I want it to be. I don't want it to be just step back and watch and let them continue to do their thing all season. So hopefully his tone changes throughout preseason, throughout the next phase, after they come back from the break and all. Hopefully it changes. Hopefully it changes. But I won't be too hard on him. But right now, that put a huge damper on me, and I've got a narrative to run with. So, for better or worse, prove me wrong now. Now it's time to prove me wrong. But let's go ahead and get to these to the players that spoke. I know he said Trent came in, but Trent's not going to be the first person we hear from. Instead, it's going to be Mac Jones. So we're going to start with Mac Jones. I'll put the captions on so you guys can hear everything clearly, and we'll go ahead and get started with that. All right, let's bring in Mac Jones. There he is. And let's get to it.
How's everybody doing? Pretty good.
What are you going through right now physically?
Just a little soreness in my shoulder. Everything's clean and looks good, so just kind of being precautionary, I guess is the word. But yeah, I'll be ready for training camp.
Was there, at the end of last season and up to this point, had you given much thought, or did you think that there was a possibility that you could be traded to a team that wanted to make you their starter?
Yeah, there was definitely obviously a lot of speculation, and honestly, after a long year, I was just trying to enjoy it with my teammates and look back on the season. But yeah, I think there was some stuff out there, and it was made very clear to me that I was going to be here from this organization. So I'm fired up about it, and I kind of knew that was the situation early off season, and everything else is kind of between my agent and the coaches and whatever. But obviously you want to have a chance to start, but I also love it here, and I'm not really in the business of leaving good people. So I'm not mad about it at all. I think it's a great organization and did a lot of fun stuff last year, but it's a new year. And I feel like this is the first year I've had when I've had the same offensive playbook being in the NFL. So that's kind of nice. If you go to a new team, you got to learn a new playbook again and kind of do everything over. So it's good. I'm excited and really just looking forward to the summer and getting everything going again.
I think you used the
All right, so the question was, throughout the offseason, did you think there was a possibility you could be traded? He said yes. He heard a couple of the things, and, it's always a possibility, but he's not in the business of leaving good teams. So it sounds like, this is to me, maybe I'm digging a little too deep. I don't know. It sounds like the Niners asked him, like, we want you here, obviously, but we also don't want to hold you back. And that's why they go out and they draft guys. And that's why the Niners have all these wide quarterbacks that they've brought in. And, we have Rourke back in the mix and everything now. And, you got Brock Purdy out there. You obviously have Mac. He's talking about the soreness in his shoulder. He said everything looks good. It sounds like he might have had a procedure done. I don't know if he's going to get to that, but that's what it sounds like based off of that answer. But then he finished up with, I'm not in the business of, leaving good people and good teams, and he wants to stay here. So that was good. I like that he sounds like he wanted to stay. So that's always good to hear. Now, with that said, I'm sure if a team called and said, hey, we want you to be a starter, not competing for the starting role, it would be a little bit different. Anybody who competes wants to be the guy, not a guy, So I do like that mentality from Mac, and I'm very, very grateful that he's still here. All right, let's get back to it.
Last year a couple of times, getting the train back on the tracks. How do you keep how do you keep the train on the tracks? Like, what do you do when you go?
I'm not an engineer of train tracks, but yeah, that's a good question. I've thought about that, and I think one thing that I focused on last year was my mindset. I do put a lot of work into it, and at the end of the day, if you go out there on Sunday and you're not confident, it doesn't matter, I guess. So I know that if I go out there on Sunday and have the right mindset and have that warrior mentality, that I can plays really good football. And I proved that last year, but the challenge is to do it again this year and really not compare the two. Like, every season's different, and I've learned that probably better than anybody. Had some ups and downs and started hot in the league and then got challenged, years 2, 3, and 4 or whatever. And now I feel like it's time to stack some good years here. So I'm looking at it as a positive, is, building on it, I guess is the right word. But yeah, I think some people, you don't want to put too much pressure on yourself. Like, oh, I got to do what I did last year. You also don't want to be satisfied with what you did. So I think I'm in the right mindset, and I know the coaches and everybody feel the same way. Like we have a good football team, and we're going to be healthy this year and have a chance to do some good stuff.
He just said something that I feel like every 49ers player is afraid to say. I feel like every 49ers player is afraid to say. And it speaks to the opposite, or what the narrative is around this team. And, when free agents come in, people are like, oh, what do you think about the substation and all that? He finished this up with, we're going to be healthy this year. We are going to be healthy. I love that he's putting it out there. Speak that shit into existence, Mac Jones, man. Let's go. Come on. That's what we want to hear right there. Let's go.
I'm in the right mindset, and I know the coaches and everybody feel the same way. Like we have a good football team, and we're going to be healthy this year and have a chance to do some good stuff.
How important was that for you just to establish that or reestablish yourself?
Yeah, for sure. It was good. I think it was important for me just to have fun and get around this group of guys and continue to be with these guys, because it's a good group in the locker room and got a lot of older guys, but now we have some younger guys too. And I feel like I'm kind of in the middle. Hopefully I'm not old yet, but 27 still. So anyways, but yeah, I feel like last year was good for me, and I'm just getting everything going in the right direction. But like I said, this year is a new year, and that's the NFL. You can't really look back or look forward. You kind of just got to be where your feet are. And I know that I can play in the system, and I know that I can play even better in the system. And I got good support from Coach Kyle and Clay and everybody. So I feel good about it.
Apologies for talking about your money here, but I mean, based on the way you played, you're probably underpaid.
Thank you.
Quality backup quarterback at this point. Was the $300,000 like an acknowledgement of a thank you gift, or like, hey, you probably should be paid a little more? Or what was that about?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not really going to go into it because it's kind of supposed to be a quieter thing, and it was something to do with last year, but I'm really grateful for it, and I love the Yorks and everybody, and it was good to have that gesture sent my way. And for me, I want to build on it and have another good year. And it's never been really about the money for me, to be honest. I'm just glad that I'm having fun again. That's priceless to me. And obviously winning, last year we didn't finish where we wanted to finish, but just getting back to winning football games, like there's a dollar sign in my mind that's very important. So that's what I care about. Everything else will come, and it's part of God's plan.
I love this answer, man. He asked him, was it $300,000 a sign of, like we undervalued you or whatever? So you didn't want to go into it too much, but it had more to do with last year, not this year, right? It wasn't about keeping him or anything like that. It was a thank you. It was an ode, so to speak. Like you overperformed or you exceeded expectations, whatever it is. He didn't want to go into it, but he said, I love playing for the Yorks. Again, everyone loves to call this team and Jed and the owners cheap, and that could not be further from the truth. It couldn't be further from the truth. It's a nasty, disgusting narrative surrounding this team. It's absolutely terrible. Every year they talk about the millions of dollars they're putting into the stadium and upgrading here and upgrading there. They're talking about, opening up the checkbook. They talked about bringing in new equipment for healing and recovery. They said that they did the survey, and the players said that they wish they had more one-on-one time with the strength and conditioning people and all. So they expanded the roster. They brought in new equipment for all that. They do these things, and yet the fan base still says, well, we're cheap because we didn't get Myles Garrett. Oh, we're cheap because we didn't make a trade for this guy and that guy. Like, all right, enough already. Like, how much more do you want them to do? How much more do you? They can't get every free agent. They can't make a trade for everybody in the entire NFL. The salary cap exists, and the Niners work in the confines of that, and we can't do it this year, but we can do it the next year. So I love that answer from Mac Jones. Absolutely love it. And I'm not going to go into too much detail, he said, but had probably more to do with last year than this year, and I've never been concerned about the money. And I love playing for the Yorks. By the way, I have not seen much of Jed York around the team. You look at day 2 and day 3 of the draft, I didn't see Jed York in there at all. I saw Dr. York in there. So that even speaks to Jed being promoted and no longer being whatever the other title was, just the CEO, right? So they're making changes even in the front office and in the ownership and rankings and all that, and they promoted Al Guido and things of that nature. So they are shaking things up and allowing people to, if you have a focus or if you have a passion somewhere else, you go and pursue that. We're going to get football guys in here. We're going to get guys that give a damn about what we're putting out on the field. So I absolutely love that. So kudos to Mac Jones for putting that out there. Thank you.
And not my plan.
Last year you had good receivers, but they were different receivers. This year you got, seems like a lot more speed at wide receiver.
Yeah.
What's it like? How does that change your job and Brock's job when you have so much more speed and you can maybe challenge and down the field a bit more?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I've been fortunate to play with some fast guys in the past, but the guys we brought in, and everyone's a little different. Mike Evans is tall and has a really long stride and is a vertical threat throughout his career. Just crazy that we're on the same team now. I used to play with him in Madden, but he's still killing it. And he looks great in OTAs. Christian Kirk, I play with in Jacksonville, is quick, has good downfield stuff, and Stribling and Ricky. The list goes on. We got some good young guys. Cowan looks good too. So I've been really pleased just watching it. It's been kind of interesting just to watch practice a little bit and see different guys move. But yeah, I think pushing the ball down the field is important, kind of eliminating some of those longer drives where you can have some explosives and let those guys get behind the defense. And there's a lot that goes into that, scheme, protection, all that stuff. But I feel like we got the guys to do it, and we're definitely going to do that this year.
Where were you, and what was the reaction when quarterbacks when you find out Myles Garrett's going to be on the other side a couple times a year?
Yeah. I think I was in the hallway, but someone showed it to me. I was like, oh, it's AI, whatever. But then they were like, I saw the blue check, and I was like, no, click on his profile. I want to see it. I forgot who it was. It was a defense player, but it was Malik. Yeah, Malik came up to me. I was like, shoot, that's crazy. But no, Myles is a great player. I've played against him a few times, and very talented. That roster that they've built there is incredible, and we had a really good division. So got to focus on us, but doesn't make it easier for sure.
A lot of guys.
A group of wide receivers is going to be able to change what you can do on the field.
Hopefully a lot. I'm not a fortune teller, but I do think these guys have really good talent. I think there's a different group of people than we had last year, personalities, and we got some older vets that have played a lot and some young guys. So you're going to get a really good group, a good mix, I guess. And I'm not a coach, but if I was a coach, I would want that kind of the elevator of young guys to old guys, quick guys, fast guys, tall guys, short guys. So you got a little bit of everything. And I'm excited to work in training camp with them, and we got some great work in pre-OTAs too.
Great question, great answer. Talking about the diversity of this wide receiving core, right? Like you go from Pearsall and Jennings and Bourne, right? And I don't know, man. I didn't see the speed necessarily from Pearsall all year. So when you compare Pearsall, this is me. This is Mike's interpretation. I know you guys are going to disagree. I didn't see the speed off the charts in comparison to a guy like Bourne or Kendrick, right? Or Juwan Jennings. So you got kind of guys who are in that of the same ilk. And now all of a sudden you got veterans who have size. You have rookies who have size. You have all these guys with speed, and then you have the short guys who are shifty and Christian Kirk and all, all of a sudden we have a very, very good mixture of wide receivers. And this is something that Wayne and I discussed on the BAM show a couple of weeks ago. This, in my opinion, could be the most diverse wide receiving room that the Kyle Shanahan era has seen here. So I like it. It sounds like the quarterbacks like it, and we're going to see what they can bring to the table. So great question and answer right there.
Curiosity. You came in last season where the locker room was about youth and helping to pull the youth along and get them adjusted. Whereas now it's like a lot of veterans back in the building. You got Dre Greenlaw and Mike Evans and so many others.
Yeah.
Does it feel different in the locker room given how much veteran experience has now been infused into the team?
For sure, yeah, that's a great question. And like last year, I feel like we had a lot of young guys play, and that'll help this year because you have rookies that are second-year guys. And they've learned from some great players last year. And then now, whether they're starting or backup, that means you have more depth because your young guys that played last year might not be playing as much or whatever the situation is, because we have some guys coming back from injury or guys in free agency like Dre. But anyways, we have a deep roster, I feel like, and that's going to help. Obviously, as we've seen, like any NFL team, you're going to go through some stuff, and you want to have guys that have played football and learned from some good people too. So I'm excited. Had some good conversation with the rookies. Like, they ask a lot of good questions and makes me feel old, but I mean, it's my 6th year. So anytime they ask me, I want to tell them, what was it like for me as a rookie, and what did I struggle with, and what did I do good from year 1 to year 2 for those guys that you're talking about, like Stout or whoever who played a lot. Like, what do you have to do to year 2 to not to have that fall off and all that stuff? So it's been good.
Last year, when you got in, say, week 2, was the playbook for you, like, what am I trying to say? Was it more like, if you get in week 2 this year, do you have much more of the playbook at your disposal just because you know more of this offense? Or kind of week 2 last year, did you kind of had to absorb much of this?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it was pretty detailed. Like, I always look back at our call sheets in the offseason and kind of watch games. Like, I watched the Saints game, and we were running all the same plays that we run now and ran throughout the year. But yeah, I think obviously when it's your first start in a new offense, like, Kyle's not going to go out there and put me in physics right away, But I feel like each game we progressed. And when I first got here, that was the challenge, was like learning the plays, and they're 20 words long. But it also made me like understand everything. And that helped me in the season because we install a lot of plays each week, and I felt really prepared. So I didn't really think about it like that, but definitely going through the off season, like, the calls just come in easier and quicker. And my job is to, like I said, focus on the mindset for me, like going out there on Sundays, and I prepare a lot, and I showed last year that I can carry that into a game. So just focus on the mindset of like, yeah, that's what I do. On Sunday, I'll be ready to play, or whenever we play.
How early this offseason was it clear that you'd be coming back? Were you made?
Pretty early. Yeah. I felt really good about it. I mean, like I said, I kind of stayed out of everything, but as you guys know, there was stuff out there, and like I said, it's good to be talked about or whatever. But when you're coming back to be a backup, I'm also cool with that too, because I learned so much. And like I said, I'm not in the business of leaving good people. So I feel like I can stack another good year whenever I'm needed. That's my job, is to support Brock. It's his team, and he played very well towards the end of the year. And I feel like it was just a lot of fun. So we want to continue that, the good vibes in there. And I'm looking forward to trying not to focus on the future, just focus on now. And like I said, this summer for me is going to be critical, just getting healthy and really just taking my body to another level. So I'm excited for the challenge and apply it during the preseason.
All right, I'm going to look up to see if he had a procedure or something like that done, because this is the second time he said something about getting healthy. And I did see a comment earlier in here from someone saying that he had a procedure or something like that done. Where was that comment here? Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, Niner Faithful 8080 said that Mac had a cleanup procedure done a couple of months ago. So I didn't see that news, but I'm just going to look up some confirmation while this is playing. But I love that he is saying, I'm here. This is where I am, and I'm not worried about the future. I have to improve this year and keep it going. Even the question about, do you have more of the playbook at your disposal right now? And even if he did, it's not going to matter because of how many new pieces there are, right? The playbook is going to be more about what the players can execute, not just, oh, Kyle has these plays, we're going to run these plays. I only had 10% of the playbook week 2 versus now I have 80 or 90%. That 90% doesn't matter. There's so many new faces and new pieces on this offense that it's going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to look it up, try to see if I can find anything about an injury, but kudos to Mac for being honest and blunt with everybody. I really, really do appreciate it, and I like it. So
you obviously started for about half the season. Then when you went back to the bench, did that experience, having played in the system, help you assist Brock in a different way, in a better way?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think every year is different. I've played the beginning 8, like last year or whatever, and then the year before that I played the last 8 in Jacksonville. So it's kind of interesting, like, you're learning different ways. And with Brock this year, obviously he's played in the system, so I'm not going to tell him anything he doesn't already know. But a lot of it as a backup quarterback is just validation, like, hey, on that route right there, was he open or not? And you just have to see the play with a clear eye and be like, nah, dude, you're good. It wasn't open. Or I think that's what Brock wants. And trust me, I've been in Brock's shoes. I don't want someone like talking to me after every play, like, dude, you missed this. Like, that's not really my job. So Brock knows that, and but he wants the information. That's what I love about him. So when I got to play, I kind of took information from everybody, the coaches, players too, just because that's how you learn quickly on the field. Like, what did I see versus what did they see? So,
all right, I'm going to do a phone a friend live. So here's what I found online, and now this is from the Google AI answer that pops up right away. It says that Mac Jones did not have any kind of off-season procedures done, but again, he keeps sounding like he did. So I'm going to call our resident GM, live. Let's see if he answers. I don't know if he's going to. I didn't tell him I was going to call or anything. But I'm very curious about this. He keeps alluding to recovery and getting healthy, and I didn't know that he wasn't. According to Google, it's just nope. Tony's not going to answer. We'll see if he calls me back. And then I'm going to phone another friend too. Let me see if Wayne will pick up also. I don't recall there being news about Mac Jones having anything done, but he is really, really alluding to getting healthy. He talked about the shoulder soreness and all that. Is where was he throwing that he has shoulder soreness? Like something's not quite right. Let me see if Wayne will pick up. He might be busy. Wayne is the busiest person I know, so he might not answer. But let me just see if he does. Hopefully he's not like in the middle of a show on his own. So, because I don't usually go live on Thursday nights. He could be live right now. He could be in the middle of a practice. I don't know what Wayne could possibly be doing. All right.
This is Wayne Brown. Can't come to the phone right now.
All right. So no answer from Wayne either. All right. Yeah. So I'm not sure, guys. If anybody calls me back, I'll let you guys know. I don't recall there being any news about him having anything done. Now, could they have kept that under wraps because of the potential trade bait and all that? Yeah, absolutely. And people do have procedures all the time, and they just don't mention it. But this is something that's new to me. And again, it's just how often he's referencing recovery and getting better, and the shoulders. It sounds like something was done. That's just what it sounds like to me. So I don't know. I don't see any big ice packs on the shoulder or anything like that. So,
That's how you learn quickly on the field. Like, what did I see versus what did they see? So
85%.
10. Sorry.
Sorry. Obviously, if you'd signed a 1-year contract last March, you would have been a free agent. Maybe you would have come back. I don't know. But we saw Darnold do the 1-year thing.
Yeah.
And turned out pretty well for him. Did the 49ers insist on a 2-year deal last year and tell you this could be the situation where even if you play great, they're just going to keep you?
Yeah, I think, it's hard because what if it went the other way? What if I was on a 1-year deal and played like crap and then I'm on the street? So I'll take any years you can get in the league. Just being on a team is a blessing for me. And obviously I have a higher ceiling than just that, but that's the basis. So you want to make sure you're good to go. So I'm not stressing about it. I think it's all good. I think people are seeing what type of teammate I can be, and to do something again twice is sometimes good. Like I said, I haven't, honestly, since college, I haven't had the same coordinator since 2019 in back-to-back years. So this will be the first time. So it'll be interesting to see if I can stack a good year. And the 1-year versus 2-year thing is definitely a legit question, but it'll all work out how it's supposed to.
We're still in.
Whoa. We can't just jump right to Mike Evans. All right. So let's hit a little rewind there, and then we'll get to Mike Evans afterwards. I did see Niner Faithful 8080 say to Zach or Matt, no, I did send them a message. I'll see if they respond. But this is interesting. He said he hasn't had back-to-back coordinators since 2019. So here we are 7 years later, and he's going into the first time that he's had. I want to see what that confidence does for him. I want to see what the cohesion does for him. And here's the truth of the matter. He's finally got back-to-back years in the same system and the same coordinator. He may not touch the field at all. That's what we're all hoping for. We don't want to see Mac Jones out there as much as the fan base felt like they were split on him and all that stuff. The truth of the matter is Brock is the guy, and we hope we don't have to see Mac. But if we do, cool. He's got 2 years in the system now. But I don't want to see out there if we don't have to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm knocking on wood. Hopefully we don't see from Mac Jones and any real or crucial game time. All right. But that's it. Let's turn the page. Let's get to Mike Evans. We're already approaching. We've already crossed the hour mark. So let's see what Mike Jones has to say here.
1-year thing is definitely a legit question, but
I really just said Mike Jones. I meant to say Mike Evans. Forgive me, guys. Sorry about that.
We're still in Tampa. I mean, or is it you want to kind of get out there with Brock and the new system and things like that?
In the past couple of years, I've been having new offensive coordinators in Tampa. So it was smart of me to just go out there and get some reps, get familiar with the offense. And here, I have to learn new offense anyway, but obviously get the timing down with Brock. So it's been good work.
Having been here now for a few months, has it felt like, I think you mentioned in your opening press conference, a little revitalization, just something new? What has it been like now that you've been here for?
It's been smooth so far, really smooth. The practices have been competitive. The weather has been amazing. I talked about that before, but that's been great right now.
When you think about the fact that we've asked everyone that's coming here about your addition to the team, and Trent was saying, that's a Hall of Famer, and Kittle was saying it's hard for people not to fan.
Trent said I'm a Hall of Famer? All right, y'all hear that, right? The first ballot Hall of Famer said that about me, so.
He said that, and he said it's hard for everyone not to fangirl about the fact that you're in the locker room. Just out of curiosity, how has the transition been for the 49ers, and do you kind of feel that when you step out there with everyone?
Yeah, I mean, it's been smooth. I mean, I know I was in Tampa for a really long time, but I mean, it's football at the end of the day. The guys on this team, the staff, they made me feel welcome, and I came here for a reason. So, I mean, this transition has been smooth.
Coach, about the younger guys like Ricky and obviously Stripling kind of leaning on you possibly for some knowledge. Has it happened up to this point? And if so, like, how have those conversations gone?
Not really. I mean, those dudes are really smart, polished, they're professional. We talked here and there about certain things like in the past, but they haven't picked my brain as much. But I'm pretty sure in training camp and as the season goes, I'm always here to listen and help a younger player out.
You've been a consistent red zone producer throughout your whole really college and pro career. What's the key to that? What for a receiver? What's the key to
obviously it's my frame. My frame is a big part of that. But you got to win in tight situations down there in the red zone. And I have the leaping ability. I have the awareness and a lot of reps at doing it. And I love getting in that red area and adding a different dynamic to this team.
I want to point you guys to a guy last year that led the NFL in touchdown receptions. All right. And now, if I'm not mistaken, that was Davante Adams, who led the NFL in touchdown receptions. I'm pretty sure that was Davante Adams. Yes, it was, with 14. It sounds like Mike is coming for that crown, baby. It sounds like Mike is coming for that crown. I like this answer right here. Let's go. Let's get it.
What for a receiver? What's the key to
obviously it's my frame. My frame is a big part of that. But you got to win in tight situations down there in the red zone. And I have the leaping ability. I have the awareness and a lot of reps at doing it. And I love getting in that red area and adding a different dynamic to this team.
Maybe mentioned yesterday the red zone, and you had a bunch of touchdowns. Was that mostly from Purdy? And do you feel like it's maybe a sign of where the connection is?
It's just practice, and we're just repping and trying to get good reps. They put me in good spots. I think they set that up. Gave me some one-on-one coverage, which I love. I just pride myself on getting in the end zone, winning versus bad leverage, and one-on-one opportunities. I gotta get open for Brock.
I love this answer. The question I could care less about. But the 49ers media has done this thing where they overhype, which, by the way, great shirt that he's wearing also. Humble overhype. I love that. But they overhype practice reps. You guys remember them charting, oh, this guy was 7 of 8, and this guy was 2 of 5, and this guy was 1 for 4. And they say all this bullshit that got everybody all fired up and all that every year. They asked this question about, you got a couple of touchdowns in the red zone exercise yesterday, and were most of them from Brock and all that, and he dismisses it immediately. But the way he dismisses it, it wasn't rude to the person who asked the question. It wasn't dismissive of the press. It's just practice. It doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything. And I love that he is putting that out there. This is what a veteran in the building does. Had they asked this question last year to someone else? No, I'm not going to say a name. But he would have been like, yeah, that's what I do. Hell yeah, I'm tough to cover down. No, it's just practice. I love this answer from him.
Had a bunch of touchdowns. Was that mostly from Purdy? And do you feel like it's maybe a sign of where the connection is?
It's just practice, and we're just repping and trying to get good reps. They put me in good spots. I think they set that up, gave me some one-on-one coverage, which I love. I just pride myself on, getting in the end zone, winning versus bad leverage, and in one-on-one opportunities, I got to, get open for Brock.
Shanahan have you on the big board during a meeting recently? What was
Did he? I don't even know. He had me up on the big board? Oh, did he? I don't talk about what happens in the team room, so y'all trying to get me in trouble.
Impact do you want to have on this offense, this team going into training camp? I mean, you've been in the league for quite some time. You have such a strong veteran presence. What do you want these guys to know about you coming in?
I just want to continue to do what I've been doing my whole career. That's making plays, being the ultimate team player, and the ultimate playmaker. So that's what I really want, and just let these guys know that not to take this shit for granted, because like you never know, what could happen. And our roster is a great roster. We stack up with the best of the best in the league. So just not taking these opportunities for granted.
More guys?
You knew of
What a vet. What a vet.
Now that you've been with him for a couple of weeks, what are your impressions?
Love Brock, man. He's a big reason why I came here. I said that in my initial Zoom call with you guys. Throws a really great ball. I'm getting the timing down with him now. Super smart. He's about his business too. Comes to work every single day. He's a quiet guy, but me and him talk, about not just football, but life. And really cool guy. I look forward to having a great connection with him this year.
Without having depth along, just multiple positions. A guy that struggled to stay healthy in past couple of years is Jacob Cowan. What have you seen from him? I know it's early, but what have you seen from Jacob Cowan over the last
A lot of juice. He has a lot of juice, and he can add a lot to this team. The speed down the field, the quickness. I've been here a few weeks, and he's made a lot of plays so far.
I feel like the media is on this Jacob Cowan kick. Everyone wants to be the first one to say, oh, he's on his way out, or it's going to be a breakout season for him. Everyone wants to be the first one, so they're asking everybody, literally everybody, including Raheem Morris, about what they see from him, what they think of him. If I'm the media, you want to get your story. What other wide receivers in the room with you have stood out on the field? What have you seen from guys that you feel like there's something there, there's untapped potential? Is there anybody that stands out to you? And if so, why? Right? They keep hyper-focusing on Cowan. You're not going to get anybody to go to the podium and say anything negative about someone when you put a name on it. No one is going to say anything negative about anybody on their team at the podium. No one's going to do it. Not one single person is going to do it. No one. Hey, what have you seen in Cowan? Oh, man, this guy sucks. He's very stiff. He's slow coming out of his breaks. He has a lot of wasted footsteps. And no one's going to do that. They're not going to do it. So, media, if you really want to know who's standing out, who's shining, ask an open-ended question and make it about all the wide receivers in the room. If you want to ask about who's covering him the best, ask about the coverages and who gives you the hardest time and why, those type of things. Is there anybody that you feel is making you better from the defensive side of the ball? Anyone that's testing your skill set? And how are they testing your skill set? What do you feel like that adds to you? Are you still learning anything at this point in your career? Like, those are the kind of questions that you need to ask.
You've had to adjust to a lot of different quarterbacks in Tampa Bay over your long career. Does that make it a little bit easier now?
I guess it makes it easier, playing with. But these guys are NFL quarterbacks. I mean, when I was in high school, I played with a high school quarterback. So no matter who the quarterback is, it's always been in my mind, my job to get open for them and make plays for them and make their job a little bit easier.
Mike, last year, the injury obviously snapped your streak of 1,000-yard seasons.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just kidding.
Breaking news. Sorry about that. How much of a point of pride is that? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you'd like to top Jerry Rice, but you're tied with Jerry Rice. And also, I guess, how disappointing was it to have that end?
I was super disappointed. I'm extremely competitive, and for me not to break that record, I thought I was going to be able to break it easy. You know what I mean? How hungry I was going into that season. And, in life, some things, it's not going to go your way. And so, but I look at that injury as a blessing in disguise, because I'm feeling really fresh, feeling rejuvenated. I'm in a new spot, new change like I felt I needed. And I'm looking forward to get back on that. It's not a streak anymore, but do what I've been doing before that injury.
I really like this answer, mainly because of how he ended it. Right? He's got the joke off. Oh, really? I didn't get 1,000. Oh, shoot, I didn't even know that. Like they joked about it. And the press guy, oh, I'm sorry, and it's cool. Cam is that guy, but he comes back and says, it was a blessing in disguise. I feel rejuvenated. Right? When you have all these long seasons, you're playing all these games that Mike Evans has played. Sometimes getting a break is just better for you, and it makes you appreciate, even if you don't think that you were taking something for granted. You realize, damn, I could be back out there. I could be helping. I could be doing this. I could be doing that better instead of just going through the motions. So now, new team, and you feel rejuvenated. We might be getting a Mike Evans that the league hasn't seen the last 3 or 4 years. Go back and look at his stats from the last 3 or 4 seasons. Exclude last season, obviously, but go back and look at the stats. If we're getting something, that's gonna challenge those seasons, we're in a really, really good spot, Faithful. Like, let's go, man. Come on.
If I may ask not a follow-up, but how are you as an AAU basketball coach?
I feel like I'm a fair coach. I coach them hard, but I coach girls, so 14-year-old girls, so it's a lot to deal with. But we've been doing well. Our last tournament wasn't a great showing, but this year we've gotten better compared to last year. So looking forward to finish up the summer strong. I met Jerry. Yeah, we've done a commercial together. Yeah, it was pretty cool to pick his brain and understand why he's the best to ever do it. And it was a fun moment. It was a couple years ago. We did it. Got to sit down and spend some time with him, so it was cool. Yep. All right, y'all have a good one.
All right, so now we're gonna go from Mac Jones and Mike Evans to George Kittle, baby. This is the guy. This is the linchpin. This is the face of the 49ers right now, ladies and gentlemen. George freaking Kittle. Let's go, man. Now, this is I was excited to get George Kittle to the podium for one reason and one reason only. That picture that went around and people were adjusting his weight. I want to see if that gets brought up and if he addresses it. So here we go.
Howdy. Oh, that's loud.
How are you doing, and where are you in your process right now?
Well, thanks for asking. I'm doing great today. Had a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day. Boys are playing football. Me personally, I'm doing awesome. My wife's a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. Good for me. And my Achilles is doing great. No setbacks in my recovery. Checking all the boxes, doing everything I'm supposed to do. My surgeon's super happy. My physical therapist in LA who works with him is super happy. Niners are happy. I'm happy.
The team have been pretty optimistic that there's at least a chance for week 1. Does that feel realistic to you here on June 3rd?
Hate this question. The team feels optimistic about your opportunity to be there for week 1. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Who cares if he's here for week 1? Who cares? Honestly. I'm not rushing George Kittle back. I don't want to see George Kittle rush to get back week 1, have a sore Achilles, and then have to fly back all those hours on a plane, that altitude, and what it does for the healing and recovery process. I'm not rushing George Kittle. In fact, I hope that he doesn't even go to the game. This is me being selfish. Don't give me George Kittle for week 1 and then we don't get him for another 4 weeks because of the flight back and because of what it did to the swelling and all that stuff and the pressure and all that. Don't give me that. Week 1's not that important. Give me George Kittle for week 3 and forward or whatever the hell it's supposed to be. Do not rush back, but let's see how he answers the question.
Realistic? Yeah. I mean, at this point, even when I had the surgery and Ella Trosh told me, he said, hey, I think if you just take this, if you do everything the right way, you have a chance. I mean, definitely ignites something and makes you push for it. So, we're on track or ahead of schedule.
Australia throw a complication into that, a 16-and-a-half-hour flight?
Playing 4 days early and a 16-hour flight? No, not at all. Just another challenge. That's all it is.
What does happen on a long plane trip when you are recovering from an injury like that?
Couldn't tell. I've never done it. I just know, we fly so much. Our average flight's 5-6 hours. So, to me, it is what it is. We're going to work. It's an awesome opportunity to play in Australia. It'll be a really fun plane ride home if we win. That's our goal. Go over there, play in front of an awesome crowd, huge stadium, 110,000 people. I mean, it sounds sick to me. Like, might as well just take advantage of it.
George is a vet. You're not going to get a whole lot out of him, right? I've never done it, so I don't know what it weighs and all that stuff. But the question was basically what I was just talking about, right? But George is a vet. You're not going to get him to slip. We'll see what happens. We're going to go out there. 110,000 people, though. That doesn't happen in the NFL. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. There is no stadium in the NFL where that many people are getting squeezed into a building. I think it tops out at, 80? What NFL stadium has the highest capacity right now? I know that the Niners can add up to like 7,000 people when they do the shit in the stands and all that stuff. What NFL stadium has the highest capacity? And that's MetLife Stadium at 82,500. That's it. It's the Giants and Jets stadium. So imagine another 30+ thousand people. That is crazy. That's crazy. And I'm saying 30+ thousand because let's be honest, Giants ain't selling out tickets unless the Niners are there. So they're not getting that 82.5. Sorry. All right, back to it. Come on.
The Rams traded for Myles Garrett.
Good for them. I mean, nothing I can do about it, but they traded it for him for a reason. We're in a very good division. It's going to be a really fun challenge.
Does anything change in your routine as you are trying to come back, like you said, possibly ahead of schedule to make sure that you're kind of keeping your body in the right condition to do so?
I mean, I got like back to 100% body weight jogging 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And so like, I haven't really been able to do too much. And so at this point, it's just like, there's just boxes you have to check before they're clear to do something else. And then once I'm actually allowed to go train the way I want to train, then it'll be just really fun to be able to go back and doing all the football movements I want to do, run blocking, pass pro, running routes, catching the ball. So then it's just, hey, knock some of the rust off because I haven't done a lot since January and just get back out there.
For you, when we talked to Nick, obviously it's a different injury given his knee, but he kind of talked through the mental process that he took trying to get better and get back. How has that been for you since, I mean, you seemed like you were in good spirits when you left, when locker clean out when we talked to you, but how has that process of recovery been for you?
Really easy, honestly. It's like my first major injury of my career. It's knock on wood for that. And like I said, like unfortunately, like I missed one game. That sucks. It was a playoff game, but then they tell me I have an opportunity to play week 1. It's like, all right, well, there's not half the season gone. Like as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, work incredibly hard, maybe do some extra things that I'm allowed to do, hey, I'll make it work. And so like, it's been a pretty easy mental process for me.
What were you able to do today? And did you lose a bunch of weight this offseason, have to put it on like you did in the past?
No, not necessarily. I only dropped like probably 10 pounds this offseason. And I mean, I'm heavier now than I was last year playing, which is not a bad thing. I usually like to be a little heavy before training camp. Was able to do today. A lot of single leg hops. And then we're just kind of like a ramp up period, 20, 30 yard jogs, which is pretty fun. Just get off starts and felt great. I mean, this was the most I've ran today actually. And we're 19 weeks to the day.
So there you go. That's the weight question. He said he's lost 10 pounds, but he's actually heavier now than what he was when he was playing last year. So George Kittle in the weight, no issue, guys. No issue at all. Let's do a round of applause for that and get back to it. Let's go, man.
Watching practice, you see Mike Evans out there. Can the imagination run a little wild thinking about how he and you can pair up together to, put pressure on our opposing defense?
My initial answer to that is every single day that I see Mike, I just go, wow, Mike Evans is here. And I think I'm annoying him at this point, but it's still, I pinch myself every day. Also, like, if you look back at the 49ers, this is like the first, like, legit veteran wide receiver I've had on my roster since Emmanuel Sanders in 2019, in my opinion. And, like, nothing against all the other veteran receivers I've had, but he's a Hall of Famer.
Nothing against all the other veteran wide receivers I've had, but sorry, Kendrick Bourne, just on you. Sorry, Robinson, just on you, right? Like, who are the other veteran wide receivers that the Niners have brought in, right? They haven't been to the Hall of Famer level that Mike Evans is, true, but you can't say no offense when it is literally offensive. It is literally offensive. This is why I love George Kittle. This is why I say he's the face of the team, because he's PC at the podium. He is cultured. He is media trained, but he is also himself. And I have gone from absolutely hating George Kittle pressers to absolutely loving them. And this is why right here. Let's go.
Also, like, if you look back at the 49ers, this is like the first, like, legit veteran wide receiver I've had on my roster since Emmanuel Sanders in 2019, in my opinion. And, like, nothing against all the other veteran receivers I've had, but he's a Hall of Famer who's a first-team All-Pro, Pro Bowl guy. Like, he's an incredible wide receiver. And, like, just to see him run routes and the way that he sees things, it's just so fun. Like, because, like, Emmanuel Sanders, because that was my third year when I had Emmanuel Sanders, and he was super savvy, did some cool things to get open and stuff like that. But, like, Mike Evans just brings a whole new thing. I mean, you guys weren't here, Red Zone. I think he had 3 to 5 touchdowns in the first day. Like, he's incredible. And so that by itself is really fun. And I think, like, just he takes ball incredibly seriously. And I think that just kind of sets the tone for the wide receiver room, especially when you have a bunch of young guys in there. I think it's just very beneficial to the Niners that he's here. And it's not just his playmaking ability, but just how he treats it every single day.
You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself about. That's what it's all about. I mean, come on. It doesn't get much better than that. And then I love how he ended it with his influence on the young wide receiving room. The Niners are finally doing things the right way. It's not just about Kyle likes that guy, let's get him. Kyle likes that guy, let's go and get him. It's a veteran, and he is going to change the way these guys prepare for games. He's going to change the mindset, the thought process. This is an all-pro. This is a Hall of Famer. This is a Pro Bowler. This is that. He can say what he wants to say, no offense, but he took a shit on Debo. He took a shit on Ayuk. He took a shit on Robinson, and in a respectful way. In a respectful way, the most respectful way possible. Bourne, Jennings, all those guys are considered veterans. Anybody on a second year on a second contract, those are veterans. Those are veterans. And all those names I named are second contract guys who the Niners just didn't quite get what they wanted out of them, like he said, except for Emmanuel Sanders. Kudos to George Kittle for that, man. I absolutely love it. By the way, Pierre Garçon was here also. Now, he said since 2019, so let me take that away. Conley is another one. Yeah, like these guys, like, come on. This is just different right here. Sky Moore, this is just different right here. Mike Evans is a different breed. And it's going to trickle down, and it's going to pay dividends, not just with him and his presence and what he brings to the field, but how the rest of that room gets ready. I fucking love it. Let's go.
So the recruiting process you did with him?
That's legal, right? I don't know. I don't think I can get in trouble. Can I, Corey? Hey, he's not listening. Let's see. He just hit me up probably like a couple days before like the free agency process was open. It was like, hey, like, you just tell me about the Niners. I was like, well, what do you want to know? You just asked me like our practices, our facilities, and how the players are taken care of, which I think are all top notch. I mean, Jed York takes such good care of us, and all the money he puts back into us from the massage therapists, acupuncturists, the great cafeteria that we have with the really clean food, how much time and energy they spend on like getting us to be our best selves. The practice schedule. I mean, so he just was kind of a fan of that. He was a big fan of how we travel, like with the laydown and stuff. And he's like, yep, I never had that. And I was like, it's crazy, but welcome to the 49ers. And then we talked again a couple days later and just kind of reiterated some of the same things. And he was just really excited about it.
Last year at this time, we were asking a lot about the roster reset that kind of took place with all the young guys coming in. Mm-hmm. How different was it this year to kind of get back to like adding veterans who can help you win now? And how important was it to have the year you had last year to put you in position where you can kind of push back in?
Yeah. Last year was definitely different. We had a lot of, I felt like, randomness to it, but like somehow we won 13 games with like half of our team, which was just like, it's a testament to this team and the foundation we built as leaders. And then this year, it's just fun seeing everybody around. And then I will say, like, this has been a really fun rookie class for me. I've thoroughly enjoyed them. like I always try to tell rookies that the only way that you want people to know who you are is like what you do on the field, and not because of like you tell jokes and you're funny. Like you don't need that, especially at the start of your career. And this has been like the quietest rookie class I've ever been around. But like, hey, you want to have a conversation with them, they'll definitely talk to you, which is really fun. But they're not. They understand that you're here to work, and I've thoroughly enjoyed that process so far. And like and I know the offensive guys a little bit better than the defensive guys, but I'm really happy with our offensive rookies.
How happy are you for Fleury to get that Seattle job, and give us your impressions of your new tight end coach?
I'm just stoked for Fleury. I mean, he was a guy who I think he was the offensive coordinator of Towson at the age of 27, and then maybe not Towson, but something like that. But he just grinded, and then he was my assistant tight ends coach, and then he was my tight ends coach, and he was a run game coordinator, and now he's an OC, and he's an absolutely brilliant person and an awesome dude. So couldn't be happy for him and his family. I don't really wish him that much success, but I am stoked for him and his family because he works really hard for it. And he puts a lot of hours in it. So he's a guy who definitely deserves it. And what else did you ask? And Cam?
I'm so happy for him. He was this, he did that. He was 27 years old. He did this, he did that, Towson, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I don't wish him that much success. That's right. Fuck them, man. That's right. It's all about Niner Gang, baby. Bang, bang. Niner Gang. I love it. This is why I love the George Kittle things. I'm going to tell you the politically correct stuff, but I got to tell you how I really feel. It's so hard to find players that can balance both, and he does it so well. I love George Kittle now.
Cam's been really fun. I mean, I've gotten to know him a little bit over the last couple of years being with the offensive line. It's a fun room because he used to play, so like he has his own vibe for what the room should be like, which is awesome. He kind of lets me soapbox once in a while, and then it's kind of fun too because he's so invested in the offensive line, so like he knows everything about all of the run calls and all of the pass game calls. They're just protection wise, and so like just hearing that conversation is a way for me to learn something new. And so like now now we're not all the way there yet, but like just how he installs it and like he knows all the code words and all that stuff, which it was like just kind of been, I'm like, I don't really need to know it, but if I do know it, it's helpful. So like that's been kind of cool to listen to him talk about that stuff. So definitely picking up some things on that. And like just a guy who he loves the run game. I love the run game. We're going to mesh on that. It's a little bit, us back and forth in the pass game stuff, running routes and stuff, because he is an offensive lineman, but overall he's a very smart guy and he's very good at coaching. I'll give him that. He's doing a great job so far.
What kind of ambassador stuff do you have to do for the World Cup, and what are your plans for the next one?
I'll be in Nashville. You guys have fun in the Bay. Yeah, I'll be in Nashville. Juice will be here. You guys got him. He's fantastic. I might be in New York for the final. Who knows? Can't really pass that one up.
You say rookies don't need to make jokes.
Just want to let George Kittle know, listen, I love you, and I know that you got money, and money is the last thing of your worries and concern. But if you want to go to the finals, I strongly recommend and suggest you go to San Antonio. From my understanding, floor seats, because I know where George sits. George shares beers with referees, right? Like that's how close he sits when he goes to games. You're going to pay double, maybe even triple the cost between San Antonio and New York. So don't come out here, brother. Save a couple dollars and spend some extra money or time with your Sports Illustrated swimsuit wife. All right. Thank me later. Go catch one in San Antonio.
Not necessarily. I'm just like, I don't want to hear your voice more than I see you play on a football field. Like you want to impress everybody with how you're playing. Like you want to go out. My rookie OTAs, like my rookie year, I don't know if you guys remember this, but like you can ask Bobby Turner. He was like, I didn't even know George Kittle had a voice. Like I never talked to meetings. You did not hear me at all at any of the time because I was just focused on football. And like, and I had a great OTAs. And like, that's the only reason Joe Staley knew who I was because I made plays in OTAs. Like that's what you want as a rookie. Like, I don't need you to be loudmouth. I don't need you to be talking crap to everybody. Like, I don't need that. And like, you can still be a great football player. I'm just saying, like, for my 10 years, which is a crazy thing to say, being here for all these OTAs, the guys who are quiet and just go to work are usually the more successful guys.
I know this guy isn't on our team. I know a lot of Niner fans probably don't give a shit about this guy, but I can't help but feel that this is a direct shot at Keon Coleman of the Buffalo Bills. Maybe formerly of the Buffalo Bills. I don't know where he is right now, but this just feels like this a shot at Keon Coleman. So the loudmouth rookies that come in and these guys talking shit, and I'm talking about Keon Coleman because he's on the offensive side of the ball. And Buffalo, they put this guy up on the pedestal like he was like a media presence, and they were all enthralled with his personality, myself included, right? Like he was I think he was my favorite wide receiver rookie coming out. And now the Bills hate this kid, right? Like they want him gone more than anybody. And it's so sad to see that he became more of a personality than a productive player in the NFL, you know? So yes, he's still with Buffalo, but they've been trying to get rid of this guy for a while now. All that size, all that talent. This guy was the next Mike Evans with a little bit more speed, and he just couldn't get his shit together because he's too worried about the snack buffet and his personality, and they highlighted it, and that's what he took that to the bank, you know? And so I do understand what George is saying, and I love the question. Are you saying that you don't want to hear the rookies joke? No, it's not that, but let's focus when it's time to focus. I don't talk in the meeting rooms. I absorb. I don't give because I have nothing to give. I'm here to absorb. A sponge in the rookie play in the meeting rooms. You go into sponge mode. That's it. You know, you focus in training camp and you focus in OTAs, and that's where you lock in. The personality would come out later on, but right now you got a lot of learning to do. So kudos to George and trying to spread the message the right way.
Me, second year, immediately. Yeah, immediately. Me and Garrett Selleck, just clowns.
Last one, guys.
That's the fourth time you said last one, Chris. What's up?
What are your first impressions of Keelan Black?
Very fast and very mature. What is he, 25? I like old rookies because, you know, they're ready to play and you don't have to go through that immaturity part of the start, which, like, it's just when you play with mature players, they kind of understand, like, the sense of urgency is what I would say. I think they're just ready for it. And that's been really cool. Thanks, guys.
What stood out to you since coming into this building?
I feel like from the moment I got here, it's definitely like a.
Before we get to Osa all the way, this is the third time I've heard people talk about Keelan Black and his speed. Where are they seeing this? Now, I know the Niners aren't doing padded stuff and they're not hitting and all that, and they're not doing 11 versus 11 or anything. Is he just going 100% while everybody else is at 80%? I keep hearing his speed. I just keep hearing it over and over. And I didn't see it on film. I didn't see him walking away from anybody. Why are the Niners making a concerted effort to say that this guy has speed? I don't get it. I'm very, very curious about it. Faithful out there, if I'm wrong, if you've heard or seen something that I didn't see, send me a link. Let me know. But why do they keep doing this? This is a 4.45 guy. I don't get it. All right, Osa, I didn't mean to disrespect you, man. This guy looks like you don't want to fuck with him. So let me shut up and go ahead and let him play. Go.
That's coming into this building.
I feel like from the moment I got here, it's definitely like a top-down, anything it takes to win mentality. Anything you guys need, whatever. Like if it's taking us in the direction of winning, we're doing it.
What was that like to get that phone call that you were coming here?
I mean, I don't think anyone enjoys getting that phone call, you know, especially just like on a random afternoon, but it is what it is.
So you're more of a technician now, I'm sure, than when you came out of college. Who's helped you along the way?
Nah, I'm not letting that go. Y'all tried to get him to glaze the Niners. Oh, I'd love to come here and all that stuff. Let me tell you guys something. There's 4 or 5 teams in the NFL that have pedigree, that have a reputation that precedes them. And the Niners are one of them. They're holding on to it. The Cowboys are one of them, right? And you can figure out who the other teams are if you want to include the Packers, if you want to include the Steelers, if you want to include whoever, right? But let's not kid ourselves here, right? As much as we hate the Cowboys, as much as we dislike them and, you know, we'll never give them praise and props, they're one of those organizations that people go to and they're excited to go and play there. They're one of those organizations that the reputation precedes anything that goes on, right? So you're sitting here, oh, what was it like when you got that phone call that you were coming to the Niners? He wasn't fucking excited. They're trading me? What? It didn't matter where they were going. The Cowboys are getting rid of me. They don't like me. I'm not good enough to be that's not a good call. You're at one of those teams. You were already part of one of those teams. You know what I'm saying? No, this wasn't a shining moment in my career. Now, will he make the best of it? I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. His traps tell me that he's going to make the best of his opportunity. Right? But if you were trying to get me to say, oh, I heard about it and I was excited, you're not getting that answer. So shout out to Osa here. I like that.
Like to get that phone call that you were coming here.
I mean, I don't think anyone enjoys getting that phone call, especially just like on a random afternoon, but it is what it is.
So you're more of a technician now, I'm sure, than when you came out of college. Who would you help?
I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm on the no commercial ad side.
Who's helped you along the way? Who would you credit for some of the growth you've had technique-wise in this game?
Definitely, I had some great coaches in college. I feel like a lot of good coaching in college kind of helped me be ahead of the eight ball for sure. And then just taking something from every coach that I've had, like my first D-line coach being in the league, his name's Adam Dirty. He's defensive coordinator for the Seahawks now. Taught me a lot, especially about the game, just details, other side of the ball, and just learning.
So did you have any inkling at all that a trade might be coming before you got that call?
I mean, I heard rumors, but that was about it.
How did you digest it? When do you get to the point of like, oh, I'm excited for this, past the shock?
Not gonna lie, it took me a little while, but initially, I knew everyone was excited to have me, so that was something that just made me feel better. I'm like, I'm very much wanted, you know what I mean? Very much needed, and then just knowing the fact that I'm coming to a really good team, going from one team that's really good to another really good team. They were just in the playoffs, a lot of guys that were hurt, not going to a place that's rebuilding anything at all, coming to a place with a lot of talent, just adding to it.
Style of play, how does it compare to Dallas, and how does it sort of mold to your skill set?
I was in attack front last year, so being in attack front just marries up, and then just adding a little bit of a different scheme to it, I feel like is going to be really good. And Raheem's got some things that are just going to bring it to life.
You were known as that.
When you think about the transition from going from Dallas coming out here to the West Coast, how has that process been? What adjustments have you had to make? But what have you liked about actually being here?
I mean, I love the weather for sure. You know what I mean? Just getting into a routine, really, just finding a place to do like Pilates and stuff like that. Good body work people, asking my teammates, meeting everybody was good. It's definitely more expensive, so that was probably the biggest adjustment. But other than that, I love it out here.
Teammates have kind of been really helpful, maybe conversations you had to kind of get adjusted to what's happening here.
I feel like the D-line welcomed me with open arms. Coach Kasarik definitely came in. We talked about some things that I need to get better at and just kind of been hammering those out this offseason. Fred helped me find a place to do Pilates. So just tapping in with some of his people, and then got Nita and Lady from Mustafa, just different people around, just helping me with different modalities and things that I like to do.
We talk about an organization being great top to bottom, wanting to win. How does it compare here? What are the differences?
Oh shit! They got you on the spot, big dog. Be careful. Don't let them trip you up.
Answer. What were you saying?
Yeah, way to move on. Good job.
Leader with the Cowboys, but now you're, as far as the defensive tackles here, I mean, you're surrounded by a lot of young kids. I mean, does it change? Is this a different dynamic as far as, I don't know, just your leadership style, or really having to make sure you bring these guys along?
I would say it definitely puts me in a position to be able to teach some people, show guys how to do things, and more of a leadership position, just because there's a lot of guys that are young and they're willing to learn. So, I've always been someone that tries to lead by example. So just being able to speak on that, show them how I got to where I'm at, and just different ways that they could help their game in any way, just based off what I know and my experience.
Rookies are a little bit more, I guess, ahead compared to what they used to be because they spent so many years of eligibility in college?
I'll say so. These guys are very polished, I feel like, for the most part. They're picking up what Coach Sarek is teaching pretty quickly, and they look good.
What do you see from CJ West? He's been out there. Grayson Halton, what are the defensive tackles?
I don't think CJ's a rookie. This is year 2. So I feel like he's improved a lot. Just coach was actually showing some tape this morning from last year to this year. So just seeing the improvement, the way he's moving, flexibility, the bend that's just been added to his game, and the power that he brings, just adding that little piece is going to take a huge step this year, I feel like. And Grayson's quick. That boy's get off is actually really good. He moves really well for some of his size. So it's cool to see.
Asking a guy who's been here for 2 hours how somebody on this team improved from last year to this year is just fucking dumb. Sorry, but I got to give you a boo. I'm sorry. He doesn't know shit about CJ West. He doesn't know what CJ West did last year. How did he improve? How the fuck am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know, lady? You think I'm watching CJ West tape? You think because the Niners brought me in, I started watching his film? I don't give a fuck about what that kid did. I don't care. Why would he know what improvements CJ West has made? Oh, well, he tried to save you too. He tried to not make you look bad. I'm sorry. He tried to make you not look bad. Oh, well, coach actually just put some film on of him today. So what he did last year versus this year, and so you can see the benefit. He don't fucking know. Don't ask him about how the players are improving from last year to this year, guys. He don't have those answers. He won't have those answers. He doesn't know. He doesn't give a shit. You're welcome.
A couple more. Grayson played some receiver back when he was in high school. Did you ever talk about that? And have you ever played with a defensive tackle who has like a wide receiver background, even if it was in high school?
Never. I don't know if you said receiver or running back, but I wouldn't say that I've no one that I knew that was a receiver, but you can see the athleticism for sure.
So you're going back to Texas to play against the Cowboys. How big is that game going to be for you personally?
It's going to be exciting. I love playing AT&T, and it's a good team. So, I think it's going to be a fun one.
I was talking yesterday it's about what a great win rate you have rushing, going after the quarterback and being around quarterbacks. What about stopping the run? Where are you on that, and how do you see yourself with him and improving that on the defense?
I feel like that's something that I feel like I've done well in the past, just being able to unlock some tools that I've been used to using. Talked about those first day, some of the things that I put on tape, just being able to use those tools and then just do it within the scheme. I feel like it's going to help a lot.
Raheem Morris and Chris Cassera.
Chris knows what he's talking about. When we got here, everyone was doing things, went through and met with everyone individually, things that they can improve on. Got me and then like Cam last because he took the time to like sit down and watch all of our tape from last year and like really be intentional with the things that we could improve on. So he's very intentional, very consistent with his energy, and just same guy every day. All right.
That was not a glowing review. That was not a glowing review of Chris Cassera, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. This didn't say, he's going to teach me a lot. I'm going to learn a lot of things from him. He put on my tape and told me where I could improve. Well, anybody could do that. But now what are you doing to help me get there? Right? It wasn't he showed me a lot of things. It wasn't that he showed me a couple or an area. He didn't even highlight one area that he said. It was very generic. That question and answer applies to anybody. This wasn't, over in Dallas, we had a good defensive line coach and, they do things a little bit different here and I can see how it pays dividends. None of that. We got a guy. We brought him in, and I hate to tell you guys this, but he's a finished product. There is nothing new that he is going to bring to his repertoire here. Nothing. Not because he doesn't want to do it. This is not a knock on Osa at all. That man is that man. It speaks to, never mind. No, Nope, never mind. I'm not going to poison you guys. Never mind.
Lot.
Raheem Morris and Chris Kosera.
Chris knows what he's talking about. When we got here, everyone was doing things, went through and met with everyone individually, things that they can improve on. Got me and then like Cam last because he took the time to like sit down and watch all of our tape from last year and like really be intentional with the things that we could improve on. So he's very intentional, very consistent with his energy, and just same guy every day. And Raheem, I like the scheme. I feel like it's pretty simple. It's going to allow us to play fast.
How long are we going to say Chris Kosera has good energy? How long are we going to say that? Have we heard anything else about Chris Kosera since he's been here? It started with he's really loud. You hear him 2 practice fields over. He's really loud. And the energy. I don't give a fuck if this guy yells loud, guys. I don't even, nothing about what Osa said was encouraging. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. It is what it is. And you guys know where I stand with Chris Kosera. If you don't, I think he should be gone. I don't think he brings anything to the table. I don't think he improved the defensive line. I think that the Niners have thrown all the resources at the defensive line. Early picks, late picks, undrafted free agents, no picks in the draft. Like they have done everything. You need edge guys, we'll get you edge guys. You need speed guys, we'll get you speed guys. Same results over and over. If they don't bring in a finished product, if they don't bring in an athletic freak for you, he doesn't get anything extra out of anybody. I don't see it. I don't see it. He has consistent energy. If that's the best thing you have to say, he's intentional, very intentional, and has consistent energy. Tell me that how that helps you. Tell me where that makes you improve. Doesn't at all. All right, Trent, let's go, man. Bring us home, Big Trent. Let's go.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing?
Gone through contract situations here in the past. How much of a load off your shoulders was it to have it finalized so early in the offseason this time?
Oh, it was good. I think it was load off everybody's shoulder. But honestly, this time around wasn't as stressful. Everything was kind of how I expected it to go. Obviously there was pushback a little bit on both sides, but for the most part, we both knew what we wanted to do. We seen things pretty similar for the future, and so it's pretty easy to get through it.
That contract is structured. Do you expect Foley to play, obviously not only this season, but next season as well?
Yeah.
What was your reaction to the Myles Garrett trade?
Yeah, same as everybody. Everybody is not in Rams country, but yeah, I mean, it sucks.
Coach Firster said yesterday that kind of he came in really early, watched film, and then once he broke it down play by play, it didn't seem as big of a task. I mean, it's just taking it one step at a time. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with my coach. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to go out there and play. Myles is the scary part is he's still a young player, so he's still going to get better. And I know it's scary after seeing what he did last year, so I'm never expecting to run into the same player. I know that we see him week 1 in Australia, he probably will be a little bit better than he was last time I seen him. And just got to buckle up, man. It's going to be tough. I ain't the only one got to block him here. It's 31 other teams got that same news, so it is what it is.
I know we asked you a form of this.
Coach Forster yesterday, as you just mentioned, but I asked him about the get betters and who seemingly has done the most work trying to, close that gap on what they were asked to do in the offseason and coming in. He said specifically Dominic Pooney, and then he said Connor Colby has also made a jump, but specifically Dominic. What have you seen since being back?
I mean, I've been back a total of about 36 hours, so I hadn't seen a whole bunch.
Exactly. Another dumbass question. So here's a boo. Even when he is here, he's not here to critique and analyze the other players. Like, I mean, what do you expect this guy to say? He just fucking got here. He came in, he ate a sandwich, he took a shit, and he walked out on the field. He's not going to have any deep answer for you. Like, come on, stop asking these guys about other players.
But, I mean, you know, Tony's an ultra talented guy. He's just gifted. He's a gifted player. He's a gifted athlete. So, you know, that's to be expected. I expect him to make that leap, to make that Pro Bowl leap, to be in that conversation. He's that good. And I think he should expect it out of himself too.
I'm going to form this question a lot, but having just said what you said about playing the next 2 years, did it cross your mind that this would be the last contract you sign, or are you still So where do you envision this being it, or
probably?
Yeah. What's that thought like then when you put
scary? It's scary. You know, I'm toying between the idea of going to I Can't No More and just, you know, leaving while I still got some good product left, you know, and not getting ran out the league. So, you know, it's been a long time, and had a daughter that she was born a few months before I got drafted. So, you know, I'm going on year 17. She's turning 17. So, you know, you just, as a father, you feel like, you know, damn, I done kind of sat and really kind of missed her whole life. I mean, kind of, you know, from until adulthood. So, you know, part of me wants to, you know, when she go off to college in a couple of years, I want to, you know, be there and be accessible. And, you know, I don't want to be that father that, you know, shadows the kid, but I'm going to be close. You know what I mean? I want to be close. I don't want to be somewhere at a joint practice. You know what I mean? When it's time for her to move into school and stuff like that. So there's little stuff I got to think about. And, you know, obviously I can't tell the future. I don't know. I'm still a competitor. It's hard not to compete when you can. So we'll see.
Wow. What a question and what an answer. Did it cross your mind that this might be the last contract that you ever sign? Yeah. Okay. What was that thought process like? You know, I've given some thought and I've toyed around between these two different thoughts. One, going until I can't go anymore. And two, getting out while I'm still good instead of getting forced out. And then he goes immediately into fatherhood and all the time that he's missed. This is a grown man. That was such a great fatherly answer. You know, she's going off to college in a couple of years and I want to be there. I feel like I've missed her growing up. She was born just a couple of months before I was drafted 17 years ago. And she's going to be turning 17 soon. I mean, that's heavy. That is heavy. Trent, you deserve it, man. Trent, you deserve it. You've already earned my respect. I do hope you finish your career here, and I hope you go out with everything active, everything working for you, and you're not being wheeled out. You deserve it, big dog. You deserve it. So man to man, father to father, absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it. All right? So go out there and do what you got to do, big dog. I like that. You got respect. You got my respect.
If your daughter says, but you're so close to playing until you're 40. Come on, Dad.
She might. And that might give me a little extra boost, but, you know, we'll see.
You were really emotional about after the loss of the playoffs, about what that team achieved despite the injuries and everything lost. Did that affect your thinking that, okay, I want to keep going to be a part of this?
No, I think I've always been fully committed to these next few years. Like I didn't have any thought last year that this can be my last season, or, you know, despite what everybody believed, I always knew that I had a couple more years left in me. So that did restore like the fun into it, I guess you could say. From the season prior was, you know, excuse my language, was a shit show. And, you know, for us to be faced with as much adversity the next year and to show that we can overcome that and we can, you know, subscribe to the coaching and go out there and execute the game plan, and we can be successful. So, yeah, it did kind of revive that fun that you get addicted to when you're playing and winning, you know.
He's had some contract issues. I mean, over the last few years, you were.
I thought about letting it slide, but now I'm gonna take it back. He called it the year before a shit show. A shit show. Come on, man. If there was going to be a time where he was going to retire, that was it right there. That was it. I'm not going to be a part of this shit show. Niners, get your shit together if you want me to stay here. They wanted to know why he was considering going to KC because it was a shit show in his opinion. That's what he said. I love it. I love it. Why am I going to continue to do this here? Here. I knew I wanted to keep playing. I was committed to playing for the next couple of years. But I'm not going to be a part of a shit show. Get it together. And that's not just on the offensive side of the ball. That definitely means something for the defense too. If this is what y'all going to be running out there, why am I going to give y'all the end of my career? Why am I going to risk it all when you guys aren't even going to show that you respect what's going on? You're just going through the motions. I talked about a couple years ago, secure jobs for Kyle, secure jobs for Kosaric, secure jobs for Forrester, secure jobs for John Lynch. Where's the pressure? Where's the pressure? Last year, he said, reignited it. We can go through that same amount of injury, same amount of turmoil, and still win some games. Show that we give a damn. Show that we want to improve. I like that, man. Let's go, Trent. Let's
say from the season prior was, excuse my language, was a shit show. And, for us to be faced with as much adversity the next year and to show that we can overcome that and we can, subscribe to the coaching and go out there and execute the game plan and we can be successful. So, yeah, it did kind of revive that fun that you get addicted to when you're playing and winning,
He's had some contract issues. I mean, over the last few years, you were one of them where you didn't sign till the very end, but there were other louder ones. It doesn't look like there's going to be any of that. Who knows? But it doesn't look like what kind of impact can that have to start a training camp, to start a season?
I mean, just having everybody here, and not having to answer a couple extra questions every time you get your media availability. It might take a little load off, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, we're going to be a better team. We got to worry about that. Like, that honestly doesn't play that big of a part. Obviously, when you got guys missing the whole training camp, like me, or, obviously that does take a little toll. But, I mean, as a player, you wake up every day, you're just trying to do your job and be the best player you can be. And I think we all carry the attitude. None of that other stuff really matter.
Gotten a long look at Enrique Cruz, but what are your first impressions of him?
Just very coachable. I know I was just working with him yesterday. I just mentioned a couple of things, but it was refreshing to see the next play literally correcting. And what we're talking about is not like easy stuff. And, I mentioned it to coach, and that was his feedback. It was like, man, that's been him since he's been here. You tell him one time, and he corrects it, So, like I said, I haven't been here long, haven't had a chance to be with him for an extended period of time. But, from what I heard since I've been back, I've heard really good things.
You guys have a month before training camp, and do you do the same things in your 17th year, 18th year that you did when you were coming out of Oklahoma in this month before camp, or has this month changed quite a bit through the years?
Yeah, I think every year I try to figure out a way to trim the fat and just, focus on what is going to contribute to me being a better football player. So, just looking forward to doing that, and that's one year it might be doing more of this and then the next year doing less of that. It's you never really know. It's just a feel thing, once you start to get into that countdown and you kind of see where your body is and you think, oh, I might need a little bit more of this, or I might tone back. I'm strong enough. I'm not strong enough, So I'll be lying to sit here and say I do the same thing every off season. I don't, but, similar.
Speaking of trimming the fat, and maybe it's the black on top of the white, but does Trent look a little slimmer to you guys? In a good way. In a good way. Does he look more athletic? Does he look more trim? Huh? Slim Trent? What's going on? Is it just me? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I don't see. But I'm looking at his arms and the fitted white shirt and looking at his chest and the stomach, and I don't know, man. This is a good looking Trent right here, man. I like what I'm seeing.
The importance of the bounce back season after 24. For you, when you're trying to do the calculus of how much longer you want to play, how important was it to have that bounce back season and then to see the team kind of again reinvest in veterans who can help you win now?
Yeah, I think that was really important. It's really important. Like I said, I don't think it would have made me retire anyway, but it definitely lights a fire and it reignites that, that feeling that you had when we were going to NFC championship games, we were going into Philly and winning a playoff game, like that does feel really good, and it does give you something to look forward to.
About some that with veteran experience, you guys bring in Mike Evans. You know, what was kind of your take on bringing in Mike Evans and then bringing back Drake Greenlaw?
Man, huge. First off, Mike Evans is a Hall of Fame player, and you know you don't find too many players that, while they're still playing, you can confidently say they're going to be a Hall of Fame player. So having one of them on our team, another one on our team, so to say that, I mean, it means a lot. I mean, his presence, just what he's done over the years, like, you know, it's hard for a lot of kids, not like younger guys, not to fangirl over a guy like that. When you know, and even myself, I watched him from afar. Where we trained together early in his career, like worked out a few times. So I've known him for, you know, the duration of his career, but just to watch his success over the years and watch how, you know, he's been a consistent talent in his league and, you know, breaking the records. I think he tied Jerry Rice. Like he just did a lot of things that probably going to be a lot of one-offs. And so just to have him in the building, to see how he's out there running around, to see, you know, Coach put him up on the big board today. Just, I mean, in OTAs in year, 13, 14, like taking it as serious as he did. That's to me is an example of why he is who he is. And, you know, to piggyback off that, just having Dre back, I mean, that's a brother. You know, it's one of our brothers, and it sucks seeing him in the orange last year. But, you know, it's family. You got unconditional love. So just seeing him come back, having him in that locker room, just having that presence, that grit, that toughness he bring, and, you know, it's like having Batman and Robin back, like him and Fred is just, you know, two of the best linebackers in the league, and we're just so lucky to have both of them in the same room.
All right, I love that. I love the marriage between Fred and Dre, getting you know, some highlights and all that. So kudos to them. I think we've talked about that in nauseam, but I do want to highlight another marriage really, really quick. I see Sin is in here, and I just want to say congratulations. I know I'm about a week late. I know I'm just about a week late, but congratulations to Sin and Joe. You guys inspire me, man. 38 beautiful years. Round of applause. Happy anniversary to Sin and Joe. You guys are truly an inspiration. You guys are what I call couple goals, man. I absolutely love it. So, Sin, thank you for your time that you give to us here, Nothing But Niners, the energy that you put into our shows, and just taking some moments out of your day to check in with us whenever it is that you do. You and Joe have my unconditional love and support. You guys really, really mean a lot. You inspire me from far, and you don't even know it. I've taken your advice on some different things, whether it be financial advice or, you know, the way I go about shows and all. So keep being you, Sin. You and Joe have my sincere love, appreciation, and just gratitude, honestly. So thank you guys for being who you are. All right, let's get back to the show.
If I put Mike Evans on the big board, but I don't. So can you explain?
On the screen, you know, team meeting, watch everybody looking at the same screen. Yeah.
Two more on the right here. Yeah, we've heard maybe some grumbling, maybe from your head coach about Australia, that it's the Rams, takes away the short trip to LA. Any thoughts about that, Trent, that it's starting off in Australia and it's the Rams you're playing?
I mean, it took away a home game, in my opinion. It's probably the only thing. It's probably why we had to go to Australia to play the Rams, to kind of cover up some of the, you know, deficiencies when it comes to ticket sales on their end when we go to LA. So I'll just leave it at that. But no, nobody wants to travel 20 hours to play a football game. Like, no, I mean, nobody ever be excited to do that.
Go ahead, Jesse, last one. You mentioned the resiliency of last year's team. What would you hope for this year's team? What hallmark would you hope for them? Resiliency?
Before they answer this question, I hate that it bothered Kyle so much that I feel like it's permeated through the entire building. I said this a couple of days before when I heard Matt Stafford say, it's just another game. I don't care if we got to play back-to-back days. It is what it is and nothing you can do about it. This mindset that this game is an inconvenience, that it's an unfair or what, I hate how much it is permeated through the building. I cannot stand the way these guys are talking about this Australia game. Like, I hate it. I feel like they are already talking about it as a disadvantage and they're already admitting defeat. I hate it. I absolutely, it's fucking week one. It's week one. It's week one. This isn't in the middle of the season where it's creating some major disadvantage with days and time and all that shit. It is week one. It's week one. You got Trent talking about the ticket sales of the Los Angeles Rams and their home games. This didn't come from him. He don't give a shit about that. This is media, and this is coaching and ownership and their message permeating through the building. We have to get out of this mindset before this game gets here. We have to. It's this defeatist mindset that is like just encompassing every player on this team. No one has said a single positive thing about this game. But when you ask the Rams about it, it doesn't sound like that to me. Their complaints just aren't as loud. They aren't as boisterous about their level of complaints and negativity when it comes to this game. But the Niners, every single one of them, it's like their feelings are hurt. Get over it. Get over it. How do you expect the faithful and the fan base to turn up for this if you guys are talking like this already? You've got 2 months to get over it. I need to hear this tone change concerning and pertaining to this game before we get there. It has to change. Stop fucking complaining about it. Please. For the mindset. This is how you guys are choosing to start the season. With this level of negativity. Get over it. There's nothing you can do about it. And I understand that they keep asking you guys about it. I do. I'm going to rewind it so you can hear the whole question. I promise you, I get it. I understand. But come on, guys. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Please. No one's ever had to play in Australia before. It's a first for both teams. But correct your mind. Get it right up here. That's where it starts. They have the same fucking flight time. They have the same disadvantage. You want to talk about what's going to happen afterwards? Oh, they played the next day and we played the day before. That's different. But stop looking at this game like it's just an inconvenience. It's the same inconvenience for them. Stop it. Change the narrative quickly. Quickly, please. I'm done.
Short trip to LA. Any thoughts about that, Trent? That it's starting off in Australia and it's the Rams you're playing?
I mean, it took away a home game, in my opinion. It's probably the only thing. It's probably why we had to go to Australia to play the Rams, to kind of cover up some of the, deficiencies when it comes to ticket sales on their end when we go to LA. So I'll just leave it at that. But no, nobody wants to travel 20 hours to play a football game. Like, no, I mean, nobody ever be excited to do that.
Go ahead, Jesse. Last one. You mentioned the resiliency of last year's team. What would you hope for this year's team? What hallmark would you hope for them? Resiliency last year, this year is what?
I would hope that we don't have to show how resilient we are. I hope that we can show how dominant we are and how dominant we can be and how dominant we should be. And, with the offseason we've had, the players we've added, I think we got a good chance to go out there and show that. But, showing that you can fight through adversity is always good, and it's something that you take pride in. But nobody wants adversity, right? So hopefully we don't got to fight through all those injuries and stuff, and hopefully we can just kind of, be the team that we know we are.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it. That does it. I do have another episode of breaking down the pressers. They talk to some coaches, position coaches and all, more on the sideline, not necessarily at the podium like that. But I'm hoping there's some nuggets in there too. I love hearing from position coaches, so I'll break that down. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Depends on the night I have at bowling. I got a little tournament that I'm trying to qualify for it. And so you have to do some pregame bowling. And if you don't qualify, you're not good enough for the tournament. So I will be entering that tomorrow night. I'm going to hope. I'm going to see if my wife can let me borrow some money. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see, because you got to pay every time you got to try to pre-qualify. Anyways, if I have a good night bowling, maybe I'll come in here and do another show tomorrow night. All right. So you guys keep your those alerts set. Thank you all for rocking out with me. I do appreciate it. And thank you for dealing with my various thoughts on these pressers here. This was a lot of fun. I sincerely enjoy even my frustrations. I enjoy. All right. So, hopefully you guys are learning a little bit more about the team, about myself, about how I see things, how I view things. Yeah, Big Brick, he says, I never pegged you as a bowler. Rock on. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I am right on that line. I'm trying to get my average above 200 a game, and then I can qualify for PBA tournaments, So I'm learning and honing my craft. And this summer, I'm working on something a little bit different. I have a really bad wrist that I bowl with, and I bowl with a guard on my wrist. But I'm thinking this summer, this league that I entered and the tournaments that I'm entering, I'm thinking I'm going to enter them all this summer without this thing on my wrist. It's going to drop my average probably, 20 pins or so. But if I can get used to it and try to muster through it, we'll see how I do. All right. But yeah, so, everyone's got their own things up. We got our first super chat here. Where's my ching ching? There it is. Niner Faithful says, appreciate these presser breakdowns. You bring up a lot of good points. Keep them coming this season. The presser breakdowns aren't going anywhere. I sincerely enjoy doing it. So any presser that I have time to break down, I will. And again, I want to remind you guys, I save them for here. I don't watch them and then make all my notes and everything like that. No, you guys get real raw reactions. So as I'm breaking it down and I'm assessing body language and tone and how they hesitate and all that, I think the most interesting presser, honestly, was the Osa one. Osa, watching his composure and his level of professionalism and all that, and realizing people were trying to trip him up and all that. I like that. That is a very interesting young man. I like what I saw from him. So I'm going to keep my eye on him, and I'm hoping that we get a few more of those throughout training camp and preseason. All right. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Niner Faithful 8080. Anybody who stayed with me from start to finish, please give this video a thumbs up and just share it if you can. All right. I appreciate you guys. That's going to do it for tonight. All right. Let me get up out of here. I got work early in the morning, and here we are almost at 11:30. I haven't even eaten dinner yet. My doctor's going to kill me, but I'm about to get some grub. I am starving. So I love and appreciate you guys. Again, happy anniversary to Sin. And thank you all for rocking with me. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to Patreon, patreon.com/NB9ERS. I'm working on a couple of new things and new shows that I can bring to you guys there on a weekly basis as well. So that's going to do it. All right. You guys stay safe, prepare for glory, anticipate pain, but always remain faithful. Peace.
We all gas, no brakes, pumped up, no fakes. We spinning, we winning, we high stakes. We never miss, we all makes. Look at us dudes trying to prove, bringing you news with nothing to lose. Mike, Nick, Tony, Wayne, Method Man, we bring the pain. See, I'ma confess it. We under the pressure. If you looking to find us, the